Right, so hello and welcome back here to Bishopscourt Diff and Drift, Northern Ireland's home of drifting for round 2 of the Irish Drift Series 2025. We're here kicking off round 2 and just about to go into the top 32, but before we do that I just want to give a quick shout out to our sponsors. Our main title sponsors being Red Bull and Lucky Day competitions, along with other sponsors such as Strom Wheels, ECU Master, Turn Tyre Distribution, GMD Tyre and Service Centre, Shift AM, our official media partner for the year, CDM Sport, Nizuba Motorsports, Group D, Yugan Factory, and TS Drift Days and driftmagazine.eu. Without them we wouldn't be able to put this event together and get things going. So we just finished qualifying and things have changed here in Bishopscourt. The weather has completely turned. The track is now soaked wet and it's going to add a lot more drama into this top 32 battles. I'll pass you over to my co-commentator here, Mike Fitz. Mike will talk a bit more through it.
Yeah, absolutely, Adam. Well, the cat is amongst the pigeons now weather-wise, that's for sure, because a lot of these drivers won't have practiced in anything like these conditions, so our first few battles at least, and I think our whole top 32 actually, to be honest, is going to be absolutely crazy, because these drivers are just not going to know what to expect, and especially for the first few battles they won't have any data from the spotters or whatever except what they have seen here in pro practice, which was running during our break here between qualifying and battles. So it's going to be interesting, as it always is in Pro 2, but as always we are looking forward to seeing it, and it should be a good one, I would say. And yeah, so we are into battle action, guys. We have a mix of our Pro 2 Junior, Pro 2 Rookie and Pro 2 Outright drivers now all into one group, and we're just going to refer to them all pretty much as Pro 2 at this stage, because of course the Rookie and the Juniors have already done the deed, so to speak, and they're qualifying. Their championship part is over. We're in the Pro 2 Outright now, and you're going to have a mix of all three classes in the one Pro 2 class essentially, and as a result, once again, you're going to have huge differences in experience level, and skill level, and horsepower, and it's going to be very interesting, you know, to see some of the lower horsepower cars take on the monster cars. Will the rain make a difference? Yes, it will, because it'll give the lower horsepower cars a fighting chance, and yeah, looking forward to it. It should be good.
Absolutely, Mike. Just you were saying there, it's giving the lower horsepower cars a bigger chance. There's some cars on the grid today that are as low as 250 brake horsepower, up to cars that are in the high to mid 700 brake horsepower range as well. And like we've talked to a few drivers on our little break here and throughout the weekend of practice and stuff. For example, Leahy, who only is pushing 250 brake horsepower, he's confidently saying he has 500 brake horsepower when it's raining. So within the last hour, he's doubled his horsepower. So he has, Mike.
He did indeed. Very cheaply too, as I open a Snapchat from James Dean, who is at MotoGP currently. Didn't know that, but now I do, and I'm not at all jealous, because I'm here with you, Adam, so it's fine. James is actually not just at MotoGP, he's on the grid in MotoGP, so that's what being a superstar these days gets you. And yeah, I'm gonna just take this opportunity to snap him back with a video as he's on the grid in MotoGP and tell him not at all jealous. Not at all jealous.
Right, so we're about to kick things off, Mike, with our first battle of the top 32 of round 2 of the Irish Drift Series here in Bishopscourt Diff and Drift. We're kicking things off with our top qualifier, Bartek Blazejewski, if I pronounce that right.
Blazejewski. See, I got that one right.
Against Stuart Gordon.
Yeah, absolutely. So Stuart Gordon, being the higher qualifier, or the lower qualifier, sorry, chases in Bartek. Oh, Bartek there. Instantaneously, maybe the lead position not being a huge advantage, because he caught the water there and almost paid the price, but now he's back on track here as young Bartek Blazejewski leads us around. The rookie driver doing a great job in the lead position here, of course, theoretically with the advantage here, because he will know how hard to push Stuart Gordon in the next one, because he will have that information from the first battle. And our first battle of IDS Pro 2 round 2 goes across the line.
Absolutely, Mike, and we're about to go back to the grid line and swap things around, as the chase driver will now be the lead driver and the lead driver will now be the chase driver, to give both drivers opportunity to show what they can do. Mike, you can see it already if you're watching the stream or it's watching the replay here. It is quite patchy out there. There's a few spots where it is building up quite a bit of water, and from what I can tell, this is the wettest the track has been all weekend, so I've not really had an opportunity to practice in a situation like this.
Yeah, completely new situation for both drivers grip wise here, so great job there, especially from the lead car, Bartek. Very little information to go off there, so nice driving by him. And of course, guys, once again, you know, the lead car, it's their job to follow the qualifying line. The chase car has to mirror the lead car's actions with as much proximity as possible, and now Bartek is after initiating a little bit early there. didn't quite mirror the lead car of Stuart Gordon. He has to get back into formation here. Now makes a dive with the BMW. He wants, and he dives too much, and the higher qualifier is after making a huge mistake there, Adam, and it looked like it was an unprovoked error from Bartek.
Absolutely, Mike. I'm not too sure exactly what happened there, but you can see the lower qualifier here. Stuart Gordon is still pushing his way around the track, and it has been quite a solid lead run for him to put down. So, from what I can tell, it's going to be Stuart going ahead. This just proves how things can go when it comes to battle stages, Mike. Our highest qualifier has been locked out by our lowest qualifier.
Yeah, that is one for the books there. Definitely the furthest apart battle in terms of qualifying position. So we are just waiting for confirmation from the judges. We'd have to see here now, though, because the judges are just looking at a funny initiation here from Gordon as they watch their replays back here. As we just wait for confirmation, just in case there was anything funny from the lead driver. If the lead driver here though made a funny kind of a dive into the corner there at outer zone 2, or did something funny in the lead position which caused the chase driver to have to brake in a zone which is supposed to be full throttle, then of course it could be overturned. It could be deemed that the lead driver was at fault here, and we might see the decision actually go to Bartek Bleski if Stuart Gordon did something funny. So watch Stuart here now. Did okay, Stuart, I don't know, was it?
I'm not too sure either, Mike, as I watch it back there. As we can see, we're just going to throw into rewind and have a look as to where the problem actually happened.
Let's see.
Was it the fact the lead driver's line was just a bit off? Was the chase driver trying to be safer here? I'm not too sure.
Watch the lead up to it. Bartek is on a quite inside line here, and maybe just, I still think, okay, it was a little bit of half a dozen, 6 and 1/2 dozen in the other. Bartek was on the inside line, seemed to break and lose it, basically. Stuart took a little bit of a wobble and a funny line there around outer zone 2, but
could this all be a case as well as how the initiation went? It was a bit wobbly there as well, but from what I can hear behind us, Mike, I think we're actually getting something from our judges now. I think
we can announce in terms of qualifying, at least it's a bit of an upset. Stuart Gordon gets the win and moves on to the top 16. Stuart Gordon gets the win, so that is an upset in terms of the form book, at least from qualifying. Stuart Gordon moving on to the top 16, but Bartek will be after. Bartek, of course, will be a rookie driver, and he will be scoring very highly in his own championship, I would imagine, so he should get ready for a podium later on based on his qualifying score. He'll still be happy enough, but he could have gone further, that's for sure. But look, that is drifting, and it always throws up surprise in Pro 2 as we move it along to the theoretical closest battle on the whole bracket. Now it's 16th versus 17th. It's 16th position qualifier Niall Houston versus 17th Dylan Wilson.
Absolutely, if you can watch here in the stream, the two drivers are up at the line trying to get some bit of heat into their wheels before they take on this battle. It is very wet here, it is quite cold. We can feel the breeze, even though we are in a lovely container here in Bishopscourt Diff and Drift. We can still feel the breeze coming in. It's quite cold out there, so I can imagine what the track temperatures are like.
Yeah, it is quite cold actually. Track tips will be very low. Grip is going to be not huge. Look at the beautiful stance there of the Sylvia of Niall Houston's car there, as Niall Houston, the slightly higher qualifier, leaves the line first. Once again, higher qualifier always leads first. Dylan Wilson chases him in. Look at the shot from the drone here. Beautiful angles here on IDS, and a nice initiation there from Wilson in the lead position. And a big rotation. I think it's slippy up there. I definitely think it's slippy in the corner there, Adam. It's after catching two drivers out already.
Absolutely, Mike. We can see a trail qualifying as well. A lot of drivers did have an issue in that area. It's a decel zone, I would imagine, where you've got to slow down before you come up on that wall. So I imagine there's a lot of rubber laid down there as the cars were pulling on the handbrake trying to slow down their car. I'm not too sure what way to say anything about that battle, to be honest, Mike. There's a bit of a straighten on the first initiation coming into zone 1, then an issue again when we came back up to zone 2. Yeah,
watch it here again now on the replay. So watch the transition there, slightly shallow transition, and look at the angle get dialed on there from Wilson. And again, the chase car maybe taking a little bit of evasive action, but he wasn't right on the door of Wilson, so he might have, the judges might have reckoned that he wasn't on the door of Houston, so they might have said that Wilson shouldn't have had the mistake himself in the chase position because his proximity gave him enough time to react, basically. But we'll have to see, and I think the spotters are going to have to get onto the drivers and say, coming into the just the entry of outer zone 2 there, watch it because it's really slippy. But we go again.
Mike. We're kicking off this time with Dylan Wilson.
And
And a spin from Niall Houston. I'm not too sure what happened there, Mike. I was looking at my notes. What happened?
An over-rotation happened indeed. Niall Houston flicked the Sylvia in the chase position. Unfortunately, couldn't catch grip with the rear. Over-rotated, and whatever happened in the first one, I don't think it's going to be a 0 to Wilson in the first one, even though he did have a big mistake. So I think... Oh, contact! Unnecessary contact, I would say. Niall Houston is not giving this one up too easily, but I think he's on a 0 because he pretty much lost drift. So let's see, was there anything funny from the lead car? Pretty much not. Wilson just initiated, yeah, and Houston just over-rotated.
Just a small bit too committed, I'd say, coming in there, and then realised when he locked the back wheels he had 0 grip and the back of the car just went out.
Absolutely. So facing off, we can let you know, facing off against Stuart Gordon in the top 16, it will indeed be Dylan Wilson faces off against Stuart Gordon. Niall Houston over-rotating there on initiation, throwing it away pretty much. And that will see Wilson versus Gordon in the top 16. Now we go on to our third battle of the top 32. On the left hand side of the bracket, it's Dean Davey versus Gar Collins. You picked out this one before the or as soon as you saw the battle bracket, Adam, you picked out this one as the battle of the top 32.
Absolutely, Mike, because these are two very talented drivers. Two drivers that are very precise throughout all of practice and throughout all of qualifying as well, although they've got two different scores. You can see here Gar Collins is pushing as hard as he can right up on that carry, carting Sylvia here in Bishopscourt. Diff and Drift have just lost sight of him, but it looks like Gar Collins, after creating quite a bit of proximity there away from Dean Davey, but he's making a bit of a dive here as he comes up for outer zone 3 and coming into the last outer zone 4, pushing as close as he can to him. Mike, I'm not too sure. These drivers might be really all over the place because of the weather conditions here.
Yeah, it's scrappy because of the weather. That's exactly what we expected. It's going to throw up drama. Lovely initiation there from Davey, but he catches a lot of grip in the rear of that 180, and it sends him to the inside of the track a little bit. Now Collins has to adjust there. Does that put Collins off for the rest of the run? You have to say from this point on, you have to take the run, you know, as standalone. Collins seems to get absolutely no grip there in outer zone 2, loses a lot of proximity. Loses a ton of proximity, in fact, and actually sacrifices outer zone 3 completely, and finds a little bit of proximity again, but sacrifices the line in order to do so there, Adam. So I don't think it's looking great for Collins in the chase.
Yeah, absolutely, Mike, but they're going to swap things around now and do things the opposite way around. I'm not too sure what happened there. Dean Davey seems to have taken a bit of a trip way past the gridding line here in Bishopscourt.
You know, it always happens, the bit of tactics. He could be on the radio to his spotter, just getting a little bit of extra information.
Mike, he could be trying to find out the information, figuring out what the story is. Either way, we're kicking off here. Gar Collins is in the lead. Dean Davey is chasing him. Gar Collins with a big flick entry, despite it being wet here, and making his way around with that 2JZ powered E46. Absolutely knocking the cone out of it, coming into outer zone 2. Dean Davey is pushing right up in the door as close as he can, Mike.
Yeah, Davey's doing everything pretty much right. Collins also went very wide there around zone 1, so Davey's doing everything pretty right here. He's not overcommitting. He might have got that information from his spotter that he doesn't have to go too hard here. Just stay behind him, don't make any big mistakes, and you should be through to the top 16, buddy. And you know what? I think he's after driving an intelligent chase there. Look at the gap. He left about a car length, maybe a little bit with it, in fact. Now, nice line from Collins, but he just seemed to, you know, over-accelerate there. Couldn't find the grip at the back of the BMW. So, yeah, I think overall Collins with too many mistakes there.
Absolutely, Mike. I'm not too sure myself. We're about to find out the information either way, though, but the information has just come in from our judges, and the person going through is Dean Davey is making his way through into the top 16 battles this evening.
Yeah, Dean Davey driving pretty much the perfect intelligent chase there after the lead that he had. So that is the advantage of leading first there, just shown exactly to us. So he knew that he didn't have to overcommit, didn't do exactly that, and then took the win without any risk. Now we move it along to our next battle. It's Callum Coogan versus Ericus Navickas here, and the higher qualifier Coogan to lead us in. But remember, Ericus is in 4th place in this championship. He wants to take this Pro 2 championship. He's hungry this year, so he's going to have to put Coogan out of competition here, the higher qualifier. Does he find the door of the less powerful and slightly older BMW of Coogan? He's certainly looking for it. He's finding the wing, almost stopping there in the chase position from Ericus because he's so tight. Let's see if he can find the right hand or the left hand door, sorry, no. A little bit straight there through the transition from Ericus as well, Adam. Not a perfect chase here.
Not a perfect chase at all, Mike, but it does look like Ericus was holding back quite a bit there. I was looking out the window here because I was actually thought our stream was gone into slow motion. Things have slowed down so much here because of the wet. You can see the Callum Coogan, he did have, if I'm correct in saying, he did have car issues coming up to his second qualifying run, am I right?
Right, yeah, he was actually out of the car, correct.
Yes.
But you know what? If you gave me a choice of which car to drive, the big turbo power of Ericus or the in-A modest, relatively modest, but responsive, really sharp throttle response power of Coogan's car. I'm taking Coogan's car every day in these conditions.
From my experience as well, Mike, I would agree with you as well, especially in these wet conditions and for what the track is here. But yeah, we're going to swap things around now, and it's going to be Ericus in the lead, followed by Callum Coogan on the chase for this battle.
Yeah, so the conditions are the great leveler of horsepower, that's for sure. Coogan not letting Ericus get away here. Nice initiation from the lead driver. Coogan matching the angle here, now makes the dive onto the door. We might be seeing a championship shake-up here straight away because Ericus Navickas is in trouble here. Coogan is really, really on the door now. Does he get it rotated back? Can he find the other door and make the dive? Yes, he's starting to gain in proximity now. He has to make the dive here. Put the battle to bed. And yeah, it's a nice chase there. You know what? It's pretty close from both drivers, but I think that little wobble that Eric has had just before the last transition, the chase position might be enough to put him out. It was quite even otherwise, but Eric is just maybe not. He might have had a little bit more proximity, but he was a little bit more scrappy in the chase, I think. And
I do agree, Mike.
Lead for lead, it was relatively the same, but
you can see Ericus is really trying to hold back on his car, while Callum Coogan, while he was in chase, was trying to push on his car, so he had room to play around with. It's possibly a bit more because Ericus basically had a lot of wheel speed when it came to the whole situation of how wet it is here, and having a lot more power than his chase driver.
Exactly. So the judge is in deliberation about this one, waiting for the results to drop in, and Ericus Navickas has a championship to win here, but he's going to have to be putting these battles to bed early in the top 32.
Right, so Mike, the name has come in here, and the person going through to the top 16 will be Callum Coogan. Will be making his way into the top 16 battles here. Callum
Coogan takes the win as the underdog driver here, but in terms of horsepower only, but definitely the higher qualifier, of course, in 9th position versus Ericus' 24th, so the system coming through there for sure, and but definitely the underdog in terms of power, but again, in these conditions, it really doesn't matter. And we move it along to a man with plenty of horsepower, Daniel Devine, and he's against Jedrius Balkus. So let's see what these two drivers can do. Daniel Devine with 2 JZ power now, looking very, very good this season. Let's see what Jedrius can do in the chase here.
Daniel Devine absolutely giving the limiter to that 180 SX he passed around here for outer zone 1, coming into outer zone 2. Quite a precise line, Mike, from what I can see. There's a bit of proximity from the chase car. Danny Devine does look like he still does have a small bit of grip in that car. I'm not too sure how, but he comes in for outer zone 4 here, sliding around a bit shallow on the zone, but the chase car tries keeping it with him throughout that run.
Yeah, and Jedrius there absolutely pinning the throttle to the floor of the BMW. Loads of horsepower in the car this time as he crossed the line, with a nice line through the first corner there from Devine. Just gets the car slowed on the handbrake. Not a bad chase either from Jedrius here. He was really matching the angle of Devine, maybe dialed on a little bit too much there. A lot of the chase cars, actually, if you notice, are getting cut out for grip on that slightly more inside line. They don't seem to be able to get out of the corner as good as the lead car if they're a little bit shallower, so that's one to note as well. But you know, Devine there maybe not great on the last corner. Jedrius matching his line. But yeah, I think it's still all to play for here. You have to fancy Devine with the horsepower that he has. But once again, you know, I don't think it's going to be a huge advantage in the conditions until it starts to dry up, and it is due to dry up about 6 p.m. But
hopefully, Mike, hopefully.
Yeah, let's see. So now lead becomes chase, and Devine will know that it's still all to play for here. So we're going to see a big chase from Danny Devine as his wings flap in the breeze here in the 180 SX. He doesn't put it right on the door straight away, but now he's looking for the door of Jedrius Balkus. Now makes the dive in the chase position. Yes, this is much closer from Devine. Now he's playing with the door of this BMW.
Absolutely, Devine put on a Devine chase lead here, so he is to Jedrius Balkus. Devine makes another big dive here for outer zone 3, keeping quite consistent proximity away from the lead driver. It did look like he struggled a small bit there coming into outer zone 4. I'm not too sure if that was due to the lead driver having a bit of an offline, a bit of a shallow line. I'm not too sure if Devine expected him to be deeper in the zone or what, but still, all from what I can see, Mike, 2 different runs, both good chase runs, both good lead runs.
Really good run there from Balkus. Really liking that one, but I think overall, though, I think Devine had the better proximity there, and like you said, it's a slightly funny transition, but
absolutely, Mike, and I think you're correct in that, as so do the judges agree with you, because Daniel Devine will be going through to the top 16 here for round 2.
Danny Devine continuing his march in towards this Pro 2 championship. Could have gone to Pro last year, decided to stay down, said I'm going to spend one more year here improve my craft and see how we get on. We're going to take this championship hopefully along the way, he said. Now it's Cian Leahy, 13th place qualifier against young Jamie Hynes, who qualified in 28th position. So Leahy, the higher qualifier, getting the whole shot off the line as well here. The BMW, the modest power of the BMW, getting well away from him, from the 1JZ power of Jamie Hynes, and both drivers going a little bit off track there now. Jamie Hynes, contact between both drivers here. I was just going to say both drivers getting into the pocket there in front of the grandstand. I'm not sure exactly what happened there. Leahy went a bit wide, so did Hynes. Leahy took a little bit of
Hynes made a bit of a dive from what I can see, and as Cian was trying to kind of correct himself after going a bit too far into the zone, kind of looked like Jamie had no hope to just go in there. To be fair though, Mike, this still could go either way. They still have a lead and Chase trying to swap around. So
yeah, like Leahy did have a big long handbrake drag there, seemed to lose a lot of speed, but it is a decel zone. That would have been stipulated in briefing this morning, that is a deceleration zone as you come into that wall, because you just have to lose the speed or you end up doing a Deren on it.
Absolutely.
And I think it is up to the chase driver to anticipate that loss of speed, and I think maybe Hynes, like you said, might have just been trying overly hard there to find the door of the BMW after getting caught out on the line, and possibly just over committed a little bit to the dive there.
Absolutely, Michael. I'm sure you could agree that it probably takes experience to come up with how to deal with situations like that. As we keep mentioning, this is Jamie's first ever year competing. He only started really drifting about a year ago. This is his second ever time being out in battles, second ever time in competition battles. He hasn't made it out of the top 32 yet, but I'm not too sure.
Is Leahy's rear wheel facing to the right there? Is his toe a little bit all over the place, or is it a...
It does look a bit off to me, Mike.
I'm not too sure. Camera. If so, he will get a competition timeout. If it's deemed to be Jamie Hynes' fault, then the driver not at fault, of course, will be granted a competition timeout where he will get until the end of the bracket to fix his car and get back out for the second half of the run.
Speaking of who's deemed at fault there, Mike, I just heard from the judges that Cian Leahy will actually be deemed at fault for the contact there on outer zone 2. I'm not too sure exactly why. I presume slow down too much in the wrong area, straighten up a small bit, but Jamie Hynes will not be taking the blame for that contact. So if this is a case of he has car issues, Jamie, I'm not sure, Mike, will they still get an opportunity to rebattle this, or will it be a case of Jamie gets a bye run?
Well, that's a good question now, because we are confirming that indeed it was actually the lead driver's fault. The judge is saying that there was an excessive drag of the handbrake, excessive loss of speed there, which we did pick up on, to be fair, Adam, and it was deemed to be the lead car's fault. So he can call a 5-minute rule here and get back out, but he will only be allowed to call a 5-minute rule being the car at fault. If he was the car which wasn't at fault, he would have a competition timeout, which would give him until the end of the bracket. But unfortunately for Cian, he was deemed at fault, and he will now be given a 5-minute rule where sledgehammers will be involved and lots of roaring.
To be honest, Mike, I've never heard of a sledgehammer. I've only ever heard of a persuasion tool.
Yes, a persuasion tool, exactly.
Yeah, that'd be the one that you're looking for.
Yeah, so Jamie Hynes will be delighted, even though it was a little bit of a 50-50 one there, but the judge is definitely ruling in favour of the young Galway man there as he makes his way back to the pits. And Cian Leahy has a lot of work to do now. He's at a 10-0 disadvantage here.
Absolutely, Michael. Well, when we're waiting for that to be sorted out and the lads get their 5-minute rules, work on their car, they'll have no more than 5 minutes. We're going to move on to our next battle, though. The next battle being Andrew Molloy versus Ryan Nally.
Indeed, and just to explain the 5-minute rule really quickly, guys, it is from when the car makes it back to the pit box and any of the pit crew put a hand on the car, they have 5 minutes in which to leave their pit box. Not 5 minutes to get to the grid, in the interest of safety of people in the pits. Obviously, you don't want a driver absolutely taking off like a scalded cat out of his pit box in order to make it back. It is 5 minutes from the time the crew put hands on it until they leave the pit box. So Cian Leahy will get that 5 minutes.
Before we break into this, Mike, sorry to interrupt you, I've just been told there that the lead driver will get their 5-minute rule if they call it, but Jamie Hynes will be given 10 minutes to work on his car because he gives a competition time out.
Yeah.
I'm sure you can explain more on that, but that's how that works.
Exactly. So we move it along to Andrew Molloy leading Ryan Nally in here. Ryan Nally is another man wanting to make a dent in this championship with new 2JZ power here this year, but Andrew Molloy, the man from Castlewellan, a local man here, says he's going to do it and have fun while he's doing it, and he's going to prove that you don't need all the horsepower in order to be competitive.
Absolutely, Mike. You can see he's pushing an E36 around the place. He's fully committed as he initiated in Tower Zone 1, made his way to Tower Zone 2, and now in Tower Zone 3. Right now, he's making a bit of a dive there up in the door, but unfortunately, oh no, I can see it here. No, Things are still going good for him, Mike. Things are still going good for him. I thought I was going to go the other way around there.
Yeah, well, I think Andrew Molloy's motto is keep drifting fun, that famous term. That fantastic documentary that was out many moons ago. If you haven't seen it on YouTube, be sure to check that out. And he's keeping drifting fun. He doesn't need all the horsepower, he said, and he did fantastically well in qualifying with, what is it, a 328 Beamer with like 210 brake horsepower or something like that?
Something similar to that, Mike, but
and
in the rain again, that's probably 420 horsepower.
Exactly, so a local man as well from County Down here, local to Bishopscourt. But Ryan Nally there doing a good job in the chase position, using his new 2JZ power to good effect, which sometimes can go against you here because the turbos can take a little bit of time to spool up if you let the RPM drop. So in the wet then that can lead to a lot of kind of little corrections. So let's see what happens in the second run.
Absolutely right, Nally, the more higher powered car is taking the lead this time, but he is dropping the tyre coming out of outer zone 1, dropping into outer zone 2. But that BMW with low power is still making his way up on the door, that PS13. Ryan Nally is still struggling a small bit from the looks of what I can see here, Mike, to kind of keep that car within drift without overspearing or coming too far.
Yeah, it's a pretty even run from both drivers here as Andrew Molloy gets the proximity crossing the line there, and a very even run overall from both drivers here. I think the judges are going to have to work hard to separate them here. If you watch, Nally was on the outside line there, a nicer line from Nally pretty much. Now Andrew Molloy was trying to make up the gap, and he does start to find the door a little bit of the Sylvia here. He's still on the inside of the track a small little bit, and as everybody's getting caught out there on that inside line, there must be a serious lack of adhesion there. They're all losing proximity as they come out of the corner around outer zone 2. Now watch this from Molloy here. He's pretty much on more or less on the same line as the lead car and starts to really close the gap. So I think that might have swayed the battle back in his favour a little bit and maybe brought a little bit more level.
Absolutely, Mike. I can hear the judges here discussing between each other, but could it come down to the lead run? Both chase runs were similar enough, apart from maybe a small few issues here and there. Different issues by both drivers, but the lead runs were quite different to each other's.
You go lead to lead, chase to chase, and overall across those 4 runs, essentially you pick the winner. And we always use the old scoring system of 10 points a run, 5.5 being a dead heat, and maybe 5.5, 4.5 even sometimes splitting the drivers.
Absolutely, Mike, and if a decision isn't made in this situation, it could also go to one more time, which means that both drivers would have to run both a lead and a chase once again if it does go to that.
Indeed, but we don't have to go to that this time, Adam, because we do have a result, and it is a day for the underdogs, and it's a day for the local man. It's Andrew Molloy in the underpowered car taking the win. Ryan Nally's championship hopes dealt a dent already here at round 2, bowing out at the top 32, and Molloy delighted with that, and the conditions will surely have suited him here, Adam.
So far, Mike, when I'm looking here at our sheets, it kind of looks like the underdogs winning nearly every battle so far, and it seems to be kind of the lower powered cars are getting on a lot better.
Until it dries up at 6 o'clock.
Yes.
No.
Either way, next one we're going into a battle that I'm really excited for. A really technical driver, Jake Davey, versus an aggressive driver in a very high horsepowered car, Nathan Corcoran.
Yeah, it's going to be a good one. I'm not sure, Jake Davies very technical. He's a very young driver, but he seems really technical. Nathan Corcoran, his 2J is making about 800 brake horsepower, but with a 3 litre 2J, usually with 800 brake horsepower comes a certain amount of lag. Not a lot, not a huge amount certainly, and you can get them pretty responsive, but
I don't know if you realise this, Mike. Nathan's not actually on the line. I've just been told there Nathan Corcoran is out. I'm not too sure exactly
my word,
what
yes.
to, but
I was looking
Jake
up
Davey
and I
just
saw
has to initiate here, and the battle goes to him.
Wow, yeah, I didn't actually spot it there because I saw the white BMW in the background, but of course there was an E90 in the background. I didn't see from the distance there. I didn't spot it, but yeah. So unfortunately for Nathan Corcoran, you can have all the power in the world, but at the moment it sounds like it's 0 horsepower. Maybe it's a suspension issue or something, I'm not sure, but hopefully nothing too serious for Nathan, but not getting out for battle action, and that means that Jake Davey gets a free practice lap here and essentially a Byrne. Look at the low tyre pressures here. You can hardly see the tyre on those rims. He's running such low tyre pressures in the interest of getting the tyre to basically run flat on the ground and get a little bit more surface area and get grip.
Absolutely, Mike. Jake only had to initiate there and start to drift, but he decided to still finish out the track and plan a bit of show for everyone still in attendance here.
You want to run the practice lap anyway.
Exactly.
You want to check out the conditions.
You're not going to run out of tyres.
Exactly. Would you want to check out the conditions for your next battle anyway, because he's going to be facing off against Andrew Molloy in the next battle, who has ran 2 laps in a battle essentially. So Jake Davey absolutely needing to get his chance to check out the conditions there.
Absolutely, Mike. We're about to move on to our next battle as we can see the 2 drivers warming up their tyres up at the grid line. It's Alex Butler versus Michael Henderson. Alex Butler is absolutely on fire today, Mike. He has been going outstanding. He's in his own car today for once. He's usually having car issues, but today things seem to be going absolutely perfect for him. This could be his weekend, Mike.
Yeah, he just seems to be such a natural driver. As young Alex Butler really seems to just have it. But he's got turbo BMW power in that BMW. And Michael Henderson has NA BMW power in his BMW. So turbo, I think it's like I should know because I helped to source the pistons for this. It's his dad's gonna kill me. It's it's an M50 or a 52 turbo. I'm not sure exactly which, but it's turbo BMW anyway. And the turbo BMW higher qualifier Alex Butler, second place qualifier, leads in 31st place qualifier here, Mike Henderson. And let's see. Henderson's on a funny line, but let's see if the naturally aspirated throttle response will help Henderson here to reel in the turbo BMW, and it is doing so, but did he cut the track a little bit in order to do it, Adam?
It does look like that. He took a bit of a shallower line to keep on the door of Alex Butler there. It's a lot more of a modified, powerful BMW versus a stock NA powered BMW here, but you wouldn't tell the difference in the 2 cars, Mike. You couldn't tell the difference. I couldn't put them apart in power wise there. That's what I mean by these conditions. It's so all over the place. We don't know where it's going to go. So it's kind of really down to the driver's skill itself.
Yeah, it is. We love to see the rain being a great leveler in competition, especially a track like this without a huge run-in. It really, really helps. So, yeah, I mean, the likes of Alex Butler will be, he will have been looking forward to the battle when he saw the draw. He knew he had a horsepower advantage, just like Ryan Nally knew that over Andrew Molloy, but as we saw Andrew Molloy in the much lower powered car, I would say he's at probably about literally a little bit over a third of the power, well maybe half the power that Ryan Nally had, and it didn't matter. So Butler not at an advantage here in terms of equipment at least, but definitely has the advantage as the higher qualifier. So it's the second most mismatched battle in our bracket. It's second versus 31st, but it doesn't always play out like that in these conditions.
Absolutely, Mike. As you can see, Michael Henderson here giving it all to try and make a bit of proximity away from Alex Butler here. Alex Butler is quite shallow, is making a bit of a dive for Michael Henderson's door there. I'm not too sure if that was the correct line, what the judges really wanted to see, but he's right up with him for hours on too. Yeah,
what a nice line there from Henderson as well on the first corner, so really like that. But look at this now from Butler. He does start to find the door here now. Can he find the traction though? Can he get out to zone 3 now? Butler really sacrifices out of zone 3, and I think he really went on the wrong line there. Now does find the door again of the slightly newer BMW, but I'm not sure. It's I
can't tell either, Mike.
It's a tough one, because watch this now. Butler does come very much on the inside there, and Henderson is on a perfect line. Now Henderson does have a little bit of a straighten there on his transition, goes it right into the corner. Butler now is pretty much really nice here, does get quite close, but watch it from here on now. Butler goes very much to the left hand side of the track, completely sacrifices zone 3. Henderson stays wide a little bit late after 3, but gets back on the line perfectly for 4. Now Butler does find him again, but I'm not sure if the line from Butler, are we up for our second big upset, because Bartek Bleski got taken out by Stuart Gordon already. Number 1 qualifier versus 32nd. Is Alex Butler, second place qualifier, about to get taken out by Michael Henderson?
Absolutely, Mike. We don't know what way it's going to go, and I'm quite glad to say we're here commentating while the lads behind us are judging and trying to make up rules, or not rules, trying to make up what's actually happening here and who's going to go ahead, because from what I can see, there's a lot there, difference. I can also tell you definitely that Alex Butler will be looking at a podium later on, because he qualified in second position, and I can see that he is actually a junior driver, so I can pretty much give a spoiler alert there and say that he's going to be on the podium. I don't think you got to be a NASA scientist to work that one out. What's better than 1 podium though? 2 podiums. 2 podiums is better than 1, wouldn't it? Yeah, and he's done that, but we saw drivers do that. We saw Devine do it across 2 classes here last year. We've seen Jakub Krzyzak do it. We've seen a lot of drivers manage exactly that. So the judge is still in deliberation here. Of course, Kieran Hynes, Tomas Falvey and Tom Murphy are mic'd up and up to each other. They're all on headsets and they're just mic'd up to each other, so they can communicate basically uninterrupted and not have any external distractions while they go over these runs. So the judges will be looking back at the same replays that we can see, that all of us can see. Absolutely, Mike, and a decision has come true, and going through to the top 16 will be Alex Butler. Alex Butler will be making his way through to the top 16.
Yeah, Alex Butler making his way through to the top 16 there. So, unfortunately for Michael Henderson, just a very close one there. Judges were in deliberation highly over that one.
Yeah, and Mike, we're about to go back to our second run of Cian Leahy and Jamie Hynes. They did both get their, or Cian Leahy did get his 5-minute rule, Jamie did get 10 minutes to spare. This time, it's Jamie...
Well, is Leahy's car okay is the first thing, and Jamie leads us in like you said, but he's at a 10-0 disadvantage. Leahy's at a 10-0 disadvantage here, so I mean, all Leahy can do here is hope to put pressure, as he has a big waiver there in transition, hope to put enough pressure here on Jamie to force Jamie into maybe losing concentration and committing a zero. But so far, young Jamie Hynes looking alright.
Absolutely, Mike. From what I know of Jamie, he is no fear. He's a young fella, but he's a great head in him. And from what I can see, Mike, he's about to get across the line. Wasn't probably the best lead line, but he got there. That means he's making his way to top 16.
Yeah, absolutely. Leahy there losing power over the line as well. I don't think the Beamer is looking very healthy there, whatever is the situation. But it looks like that's all she wrote for Cian Leahy, who is definitely finding his 2023 form a little bit again, but just not his battle there. So we can announce going through to the top 16. It is Jamie Hynes goes through to the top 16. Unfortunately for him, maybe he will be facing off against the one and only Devine in the top 16. So that's going to be a fireworks battle.
One, Mike, so it will.
Yeah, that's going to be a mad one. So that's going to be one to look out for. And Cian Leahy bowing out of competition as we move it along back to the right hand side of our bracket. Leading us in here, it is none other than Rico Tokarski, 15th place qualifier, versus Peter Molloy in 18th position. Peter Molloy with Keep Drifting Fun written on the front of his car. Oh, big waiver there though from Rico. Big mistake from Rico in the lead position. Possibly put Peter there off in the chase as well. I don't think Peter could maintain his proximity as Rico straightened up. So they're back into formation now.
They're back in formation now, Mike, as they come up for clip 3 here, but definitely that mistake earlier on in the run is definitely going to be a major factor for the judges here. I'm not too sure who will be deemed at fault, but there was close to contact, so it was. Second half of that run a lot better than the start of it, but I think we're going to get a replay up there of, we're about to hear, Mike.
So watch this from Rico here. Yeah, so big straighten, and I mean Peter Molloy had to really back out of the chase. He had good proximity up to that point, but he just saw the mistake there from Rico and just maybe had to hold back a little bit to avoid the collision and make a BMW sandwich there. So a big handbrake drag there once again from Rico. I think Molloy should have probably taken advantage of that and made the dive there as well, but he does so here then across the line, but a little bit of a scrappy one as is to be expected in the conditions, Adam.
Absolutely, Mike. We're swapping things around now, and it's going to be Rico in the chase run and Peter Molloy taking the lead this time. So Peter Molloy comes down here in his BMW E46 as he initiates and gets ready for this run. Straight in, long drag and a handbrake, trying to get in play right into the right place of outer zone 1. A bit more proximity, a bit of a delay there on Rico for the transition on the chase run. We're going up to outer zone 2 now. There's quite a bit of proximity. It looks a bit scrappy as well, Mike, but they're not as close to each other. Not as much proximity, not as much chance of whatever. But one car in shot there for a little bit of time with the live stream. So, Adam, I think this is going to come down to the mistake in the first one from Rico in the E30, because he had a big straighten. I mean, Molloy does everything pretty much right here in the lead position. He's putting in actually a really good qualifying run, which is exactly what you're supposed to do. And he also pulls out a gap. So watch Molloy here. He's got his back wheel on the outside of the track, pretty much spot on. Gets away. So I think you have to fancy Molloy in this one. I would say so too, Mike, and so do the judges. That is Peter Molloy going through to the top 16 battles.
So Peter Molloy takes the win. The blue BMW getting through. Rico Tokarski will be back on the ink Monday morning, I'm sure, and he's not going to be notching another victory up for himself though in this one. Maybe he tattoos all his wins on himself, I'm not sure, but he's not going to be doing it this time. And we have to move it along. It is the very talented Marcus Heinen against the very wild Stefan Mooney here. And Marcus Heinen was looking very, very good in qualifying. 2 extremely similar scores, which is always a good sign, to be honest, for consistency. But you know what? The conditions have changed. He hasn't driven in the rain. Marcus Heinen is qualified in 7th. Stefan Mooney is qualified in 26th position. So a good gap between the drivers here on paper at least. But you know what? Once again, Adam, we've seen surprises throughout the bracket already.
Absolutely, Mike, as you're saying, seen surprises already. We've seen our first place qualifier being knocked out by our last place qualifier, so things could go really any way here as Marcus Heinen and Stephen Mooney kick off their first run.
So Marcus Heinen, higher qualifier, leads us in, chased very closely by Stefan Mooney. Both Sylvia's flick in. It's S13 versus S14. Heinen sends the cones flying but gets the car back online now. Drag at a handbrake from Heinen, but he is sideways while doing so, unlike, we saw the extended drag and more or less a straight line from Leahy in the last one. The judges didn't like that. They won't penalise Marcus there for that one. A little bit of an early transition there, unfortunately for Mooney, and it's a little bit scrappy as a result. Nothing too major done. I think it's still all to play for in this one, guys, because Marcus Heinen with a nice lead crosses the line, but Stefan Mooney, maybe not the perfect chase, but it is all still to play for Adam in the second one.
Absolutely, Mike, absolutely. He's still going to swap things around now, and they're going to see what way it goes there. There was a huge dive from Stephen Mooney when they come up to clipping zone 3 here. You can see he really tried pushing up against the door, but it was definitely a small bit scrappy from both drivers. It was quite shallow around our zone 2 as well, but not the worst lead one you could actually ask for.
Yeah, not a terrible chase by any means. He does get really good proximity there, just has to back out of it again for a split second, and it's still all to play for. If I was Stefan Mooney, I would be, you know what I'd be doing? I'd be taking a chance on entry here. I'd be on the spotter saying, okay, he's probably 6'4" up in you here, maybe a little bit more. You've got to do something here. So I'd be firing the car in with as much aggression as possible, then trying to lose the speed as hard as possible on the foot brake, just in order to hopefully maybe force the chase car into a mistake. I don't mean dirty tactics, I just mean go in as fast as you can and hopefully that he can't stick with you. But Marcus Heinen is keeping a cool head, but he's a little bit on the inside of the track here, Adam. There's a mistake from Heinen here. He's not on the right line.
Absolutely, Mike. It looks like Heinen caught a bit of grip there. I don't know how, but it looks like he really nearly messed up his chase.
Whoa! And contact between both cars. Stefan Mooney shuts it down. Did he just say he's saving petrol?
Maybe. I do know that man is all about the environment.
Well, he could be just, this is crazy. I'm spending loads of money on petrol, fuel. I'm damaging the environment. I'm just going to stop.
Absolutely. Or else he's after realising he left the hob on back in the shed.
Yeah. Or
he's like, nah, I'm done. Get me out of here.
Or what I have seen happen many times, Jack Shanahan, not mentioning any names, we're not talking about you. I have seen drivers, when they go for a gear change or when they go off the handbrake, they actually end up hitting the kill switch on the center console, so that could be what happens. Either way, we can announce going through to the top 16. It is indeed the Cork man. Marcus Heinen goes through to the top 16. Stefan Mooney shutting it down there for whatever reason. We can speculate all we want. We'll catch up with him later on in the pits maybe, but Marcus Heinen with, I would say, a slightly dented S13 door quarter there, heading back to the pits.
So maybe it's worth it though to get into the top 16. Either way, we're going to kick off our next battle of Luke Talley versus Ollie Cassidy.
Yeah, Luke Talley, Ollie Cassidy, of course, getting a double first qualifying run. It's two purple cars here, and Luke Talley, a lovely, gentle transition here, leads us in. There's a big gap between both drivers, and Cassidy here is looking a little bit sketchy at him. He's initiating a little bit funny. He's losing angle. He's in big trouble here. He's almost stopped on the inside of the track. This is a huge advantage to the exemplar car here, I would say, Adam.
Absolutely, Mike. Absolutely, I agree with you. I'm not too sure what was happening there. It was way too shallow when they were around our zone 2 and tried to correct himself coming in for our zone 4 and the clip zone 3. Not too sure what to say. Two beautiful looking cars.
I was just going to say, Adam, maybe not the best run we're going to see all day, but aren't they pretty?
Beautiful. Well, lucky enough we're about to see it all again, Mike.
Lucky enough we're about to see it all again. They're so pretty. Right, so let's see what happens exactly here now. I mean, I think it was all over at that stage, unfortunately, for Cassidy. But let's see. It's never over till it's over, because Luke Talley might decide to do a Stefan Mooney here and shut it down. We don't know.
You never know, Mike. Never know what could happen. Top 32 so far has been absolutely a game changer and what we predicted. But either way, we're going to kick off this time. Luke Talley is in the chase position, and Ollie Cassidy, a big fast entry as much as he can, but Luke Talley is there with him, trying to keep it up as they go to our zone 2.
Yeah, Talley's even matching the mistake there of Cassidy by following him off track. Talley now a little bit caught on the inside as well, as we see a lot of drivers getting caught on the inside in these wet conditions, but not a huge mistake from Talley. He is slightly on the wrong line, but I don't think it's going to be enough to overturn it. Tally is now on a better line than Cassidy. Very scrappy battle overall. The conditions making things hard. Guys, let's hear a round of applause for Luke Tally and Ollie Cassidy, doing their best in these conditions. And thank you guys for bearing the conditions here. It's still raining here up in County Down in Northern Ireland, here in Bishopscourt.
Up and down.
Up and down is what we are exactly. So we're just waiting for official confirmation here to drop in. So we can announce going through to the top 16. It's the guy in the pretty purple car. It's Luke Tally goes through to the top 16. Luke Talbot is his name actually correctly, is, but Luke Tally being a nickname. So Luke Tally of Exemplar Airport Concierge Service there going through. Absolutely. Once again, he will collect you. His guys will collect you your car from the airport in Dublin, and you can not worry about parking your car or doing the peasant thing and getting the bus from the long-term car park.
Imagine doing that, Mike.
Imagine
doing that. Why do that when you have Exemplar?
Oh, lads, imagine. I joke. But anyway, Luke Tally will pick you up and might even wash your car in the meantime. Matt Deren almost winning qualifying, third position in qualifying, went for it in the second one, crashed into the wall. Andrew Kenna, absolute madman, seems to lose the run of himself every time he sits behind the wheel of his Altezza here with big 2JZ power. This is a Pro 2 competition, but I'm going to say that there's probably 1,300 odd horsepower here between these two cars, give or take. So they only need about 200 in these conditions, but I'm sure that they're not going to hold back as Matt Deren, the higher qualifier, leads us in. Andrew Kenna not quite getting out of the blocks as fast. Let's see if it leads Andrew Kenna off. It does. Oh, Matt Deren over-rotates. Big drama here. Matt Deren almost over-rotates. Did that put Kenna off, or is it Kenna's own mistake? We'll have to go back and look at that. Big drama on the initiation there. Both drivers now back into formation. Matt Deren leads us around almost in slow motion in these conditions here. We will definitely be getting a drawing line as the evening goes on, but not right now. Kenna is in big trouble here as well. Seems to be shutting it down. As we said, Adam, it's one thing to have all the horsepower, and in the dry you can push these things so hard, and you think, all this horsepower in the wet, that these things just light up. They light up the tyres, the 2Js, whatever. But you know what? You tend to drive them at slightly lower RPM, because if you sit them on the limiter, they just absolutely hit the limiter and sit there, because the wheel speed is so high, they're catching no grip whatsoever. So you tend to see that there's a lot of adjustments in the big power turbo cars with the big turbos. And it's one of those things. It's so fascinating about drifting that it's such a great leveler of the weather, and we do get enough of it in Ireland, that's for sure. So we'll have to see what happens in the second one, but it's going to be done. This initiation is going to be a big part of that equation as well.
Absolutely, Mike. For the first one there, when Matt Deren came in, I was really expecting him to really throw it in like he done, but it was just a bit too much, caught too much angle. From what I could see, he may have been a fault of that. Either way, it's the other way around now. Matt Deren is in the chase position. Andrew Kenna in the lead. Andrew Kenna quite shy of outer zone one there, trying to make his way around.
Oh, big dive. Look at that from Deren. What a dive from Deren. And you know what? Oh, and Deren straightens up. A big mistake from the third place qualifier. He's struggling to maintain drift here in the chase position. Catching grip in the BMW. Andrew Kenna now trying to maintain drift. Deren is in big trouble here. Now, maybe we're in for a big upset here once again, because Deren is by far and away the higher qualifier here, but it's rained since. And you know what, Adam? This one is all over the place. This one is up in the air, and I'm not sure what's going to happen in the eyes of the judges.
Absolutely, Mike. Definitely a battle that would have been very, very, very entertaining if it was still dry here up in Bishopscourt. But because it's wet, the conditions were so changed and so messed around, we're not too sure. We can see the incredible Matt Deren there getting out of his car to check on Andrew Kenna and see what the crack is, basically. Are you alright after that one, lad?
See what the crack is.
Crack, yeah. I don't know if I messed up there. I don't know if you did.
Lad, they're saying, or whatever. So we can announce going through to the top 16, just confirming there with our track controller Sean. It is indeed Andrew Kenna goes through to the top 16, the man from DRT Automotive with all the horsepowers in that Altezza goes through. Matt Deren, we will be sad to see him leave, because he was so entertaining in qualifying and he's got a great beard, but he has to leave unfortunately, because you know what, he made lots of mistakes at him, and that's how it works.
Absolutely, Mike. Well, up next we got Connor Duggan of CDM Sport, one of our sponsors here of the series, up against Justin Murphy, who actually rolled his car back in round one in Mondello, but has no fear of doing anything in it now that he's up here in Bishopscourt, even straight after he was back out for his qualifying runs back in round one. But either way, this is going to be an entertaining one, Mike. Two very aggressive drivers, two fast drivers, but the conditions are different. We don't know where it's going to be. Either way, Connor Duggan is in the lead here. as Justin Murphy comes up. Huge angle from Conor Duggan as he passes out here in the tower. Justin Murphy didn't probably expect that to be like that, but he's going to make a huge dive there to come into our zone 2. He's right up on the door of Conor Duggan, still holding back. Lovely proximity, Mike, in my opinion. Conor Duggan put down quite an impressive lead run, lovely line. And Justin Murphy trying to play it safe from what I can see, as that V8 BMW E46 growls and makes so much noise as it passes out the tower here in Bishopscourt, Diff and Drift.
Yeah, two very similar chassis there, but two very different power plants. You've got, in one hand, you've got V8, naturally aspirated power. Conor Duggan loving the entry there. Did catch a tiny bit of understeer with the front. You saw it pushing maybe a bit of an adjustment there. Did it put Murphy off? I'm not sure. The judges will have to decide on that one. And Duggan now back on line. Really nice line from Duggan there. Murphy is right there with him though with the 1JZ turbo power. Or is it 2J? I forget. I always forget.
Sure
I got to check out that out after. Really got to check that out. It's JZ anyway in his turbo. And it went upside down at the last round, but it hasn't at this one, thankfully. So, you know, I'm not sure if that little mistake from Duggan there will actually play into the hands of Murphy a little bit here. But Conor Duggan, he's feathering that throttle. He's finding the grip. He's bopping the gen speed there. He's just feathering the throttle.
Absolutely. He has a lot of power in that car, and it really looked like he was trying to put that car where he knows the judges want to do it. I saw him earlier on in briefing. He was watching what the judges were saying. He was paying attention. Either way, we're going
paying attention to briefing?
I know,
really?
Believe it or not. Either way, this time Justin Murphy's in the lead and Conor Duggan here. Conor Duggan with a huge angle as he makes open the door.
Whoa.
Justin Murphy, it looked like a small bit of contact there, Mike.
Yeah, very much almost contact there. A little bit of an adjustment, I think, from Murphy in the lead. Duggan just getting out of the way of that one. It's going to be another scrappy one for the judges. Very tough day to judge here because of the conditions. Now, Murphy starts to get away. He looks to have a lot of purchase on the rear of that BMW. It really seems to go forward. But Duggan now, maybe cutting the track a bit, does find the door of Murphy. As both drivers, as Duggan pushing across the line, and both drivers cross the line. But, you know, it's going to be a messy one. Let's watch this again.
Absolutely, Mike. So
Duggan is very much on the inside. He's at the wrong part of the track too.
Yes, he was. And then Conor Duggan really did make a huge dive there on the door as well. And he had to hold back then as they came for our zone 2. But he has the power, Mike. He has the power and the grip in that car to make that big push again, even though we are in the wet.
Yeah, let's watch where Duggan is here now. He's not terribly offline, but he's definitely not on line. He almost takes the front bumper off there. Murphy's not on a perfect line either, but Duggan, for me, you know, I like the way he's driving. He's very aggressive, but he might just have been a little bit shallow there in terms of line. And especially that mistake as well on the entry from Duggan might have messed up Murphy's chase a little bit, I think.
Absolutely, Mike, and the result is in from our judges, and going through to the top 16 is Justin Murphy making his way through the top 16 here in round 2 in Bishopscourt.
Yeah, unfortunately one of these two drivers had the boat. I really like the way Duggan is driving. Super quick on the throttle there, really good to listen to actually, but unfortunately there are just a couple of mistakes putting him out of competition. So we have our last two brackets. We flew through this top 32 for a wet one, and this is an interesting one. It's Jake McIlveen against Molly Kerr from up the road in Ballymoney here, the sister, of course, of Harry Kerr. We could have a brother versus sister battle tomorrow if Molly Kerr goes through, but she's got to get through the other and a big issue there. I was just going to say she's got to get through the other CDM sport car.
Front
tie rod
gone, yeah.
Tie rod gone.
Tie rod delete, Mike.
Tie rod gone for Molly Kerr. I was just saying how amazing it would be to see a brother versus sister battle here in pro action tomorrow should Molly Kerr make it through, but that, while it's not a done deal, it is looking quite unlikely now because, well, we'll have to see. I'm not sure, did the chicken or the egg come first there? Did Molly, did she make contact before because the tie rod went on initiation, or did it break on contact? So, okay, we have contact there and that broke the tie rod. Right, but let's just play devil's advocate here. Just say that the judges see that Jake McIlveen did something funny on initiation here, causing Molly Kerr in a full throttle part of the track to hit him. That means that Molly Kerr is at the 10-0 advantage here and will get a competition timeout to get a tie rod onto that 350Z, get that car really quickly tracked in the pits again and back out for competition. So we'll have to watch this replay again. Obviously this car will have to be recovered. Fun fact, if you reverse a car with a broken tie rod, it'll be grand because the front wheel will just follow the way the car is going. But let's see here. Watch the entry. I mean, look, I can't see anything wrong from McIlveen there myself.
Neither can I either, Mikey. He does look like he was going quite deep into our zone 1, but that's what the judges want to see. He may have dropped the tyre or so, but that's not wrong either, you know. Or Molly Kerr, I was about to call her Harry, I was about to call her by her brother's name. She was going for the door. She wasn't holding back. She was trying to be there and be aggressive. I was watching her trail practice earlier on, and I couldn't get over how good she was at watching the car that was in front of her, being able to control it, hold back, even though they may be making mistakes. She was able to stay there right with them.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, with the wet, it might not work that way. She might have been really committed and wanted to go up on the door.
I rocked up for practice today, typical. Just rocked up about 11 o'clock and strolled in, you know, nice and late, and didn't know what was really happening, of course, and saw this 350Z out on track and heard the typical Chewbacca VQ35 noises being made there, and it's the throaty burble of the VQ35 V6. And I was like, who's driving that? They were going really, really well. I was like, who's driving that one? And they said, that's my car. And I was like, no way. And they were like, yes way, man. And I was like, no way, man. And they were like, yes way.
No way.
And then I said, dude, where's my car? Where's the car, dude? No, but I really thought that whoever was driving that, like, they looked on it this morning. And yeah, lo and behold, it was Molly Kerr. Unfortunately, the battle might have been over just at the very start of it there. But she will try to get that fixed in the pits. Alwyn and the crew will be on that one, I'm sure, and getting that car. I wouldn't say it'll go on the 4-wheel alignment machine to get back out for the last battle, I would say, but it might get a bit of a quick tracking by eye and maybe a pair of toe plates.
Maybe so, and hopefully it does anyway, because I'd love to see Molly back out and doing some driving just like she was doing in practice earlier, and maybe making her way into top 16. You never know, but it might be just a little too late for that as well. They do have the decision to make.
They do indeed. So we're just looking through a few of the comments here on the live stream, and thank you guys for watching as well. Of course, it is very wet up here in Bishopscourt at IDS Round 2 2025 here, as the championship starts to take place at Round 2. But you know, it is entertaining. It always is, and I have to say there's been a few standout drivers, namely Danny Devine looking great, Alex Butler looking so good as well. But yeah, and once again, thanks to our sponsors. That is, of course, our title sponsors, Red Bull this year, and Lucky Day Competitions coming on once again and doing fantastic things for IDS. And they are joined as well by Strom Wheels, ECU Master, Turn Tire Distribution, GMD, in fact, Tire and Service Centre, Shift AM, who is the official media partner of IDS this year, CDM Sport, Nisuba Motorsports, Group D, Yugen Factory, TS Drift Days, and DriftMagazine.eu. And just speaking of Shift AM there, Adam, the guys there from Shift AM nabbed, completely unexpectedly I might add, James there and the lads, nabbed 80 Power and myself, and they just got us to kind of do a piece to camera for the start, middle and finish of this thing, but they actually put together a series, an episode so far, which will be a series once we have enough rounds to make a series out of it. And it's already out on YouTube there, so if you check out the IDS YouTube at Shift AM, there is about a half-hour long behind the scenes episode. If you're really into the series, be sure to check that out and see what goes on behind the scenes. And yeah, it gives a great insight into how the sport works and some of the drivers, and especially if you're thinking about getting involved, it really shows what goes on.
Absolutely, Mike. As someone that's kind of really only gotten into the behind the scenes of drifting this year, being asked to commentate right here beside you. If it was me last year and I got an opportunity to watch something like that, it would have been absolutely outstanding. The lads go behind the scenes, they come up into the tower here with us here, they get the clips, they're a sound group of blokes, and they have the crack with us, as well as they go in depth with the drivers. They go meet the drivers. I was doing some interviews with them alongside Kieran Hynes, so was yourself and Eddie, and they'll be showing the whole story of IDS and this season. Basically, it's a whole behind the scenes for you to watch, and it's definitely something to check out. So make sure if you're on YouTube to go over and subscribe to Shift AM, our official media partner for 2025.
Absolutely, yeah, it is definitely a very good series. Well, it's after starting out as a good series at least. So just getting into a few of the comments there once again for the live stream as we get Molly Kerr's stricken 350Z recovered here. And once again, thank you guys for watching. And it is indeed. Breen Carney says it's such a pity we didn't get good weather for the weekend. Well, unusually for Ireland here, we've had about 4 weeks at least anyway, of what I like to call motorbike weather. We've had 4 or 5 weeks of really great sunshine, and of course the weekend that the drifting's on, it absolutely lashes. Absolutely.
If there was no drifting on this weekend, it'd still be spitting suns. We'd all be at the beach and slipping on a few tins, but unfortunately there is rain, which means we're drifting.
Indeed, and yeah, big shout out to James Dean once again, who just snapped me from the grid of MotoGP, not in the grandstand, not like out there where all the rest of us normal people have to buy tickets for. He's literally walking the grid of MotoGP right now, and Marc Marquez and Alex Marquez, in fact, he was right in between the two of them with the two Ducatis there on the grid. So James, just out of drifting, interesting story. James Dean has done like nothing but drifting since he's 15 years of age, and he's now literally walking on the grid of MotoGP with a grid pass from drifting, and he's like world famous out of drifting. So
it's crazy, Mike, isn't it?
Yeah, it is absolutely crazy. That's what you can get out of the.
And like we said earlier, like James Dean started off exactly where these drivers are today, and look where he is now. You know.
Yeah, absolutely. Look where he is now, out in MotoGP. So shout out to the cameraman. He's getting paid a lot. Yeah, definitely, Declan. The cameraman is pretty wet up in the cherry picker, I would say, this evening.
Absolutely, and once again, a huge shout out to everybody watching from abroad, not just down in the south of Ireland, but abroad. We saw a few flags coming in earlier on from Australia, England, a few countries I can't even name, to be honest, Mike, but there was a lot of flags flying in there, and one person actually looking for a Cork flag. I don't know where Cork is, Mike. Where's that?
Cork is down the bottom, boy.
Right.
So just a comment there from 86 the Mad Hatter. What's Pro2 R exactly? It's a good question. We went over in qualifying, but Pro2 R is basically a Pro2 rookie. Pro2 J is a Pro2 junior. The rookie class consists of drivers who are either in their first year ever in competition or drivers who have never qualified for a twin battle. So they are allowed, if they qualify for a twin battle, they are not allowed to compete in the rookie class the following season. If you are then 13 to 16 years of age, you're automatically also included in the Pro2 junior class. So that is basically for, as we say down my way, for the young fellas or the young ladies. Basically, if you are 13 to 16 years of age, you are automatically included in the Pro2 junior class, where your championship will be decided on nothing but qualifying scores, but you are also allowed to qualify for the Pro2 competition outright, which several of these drivers are rookies and juniors, and you will also score points in the Pro2 competition outright. So essentially, if you're a junior or a rookie, you're competing in two championships simultaneously.
Competing in two, but they could also be competing in three if they make their way
into Pro,
the
yeah.
Like we saw last year with, I can't remember his name.
Coogan? Well,
yes.
Kuba was actually, he had done his rookie year the year before in his BMW, so he was just Pro2.
What I'm trying to say is he was a Pro2 driver and made his way into the Pro 1
championship. He finished fourth in Pro.
He finished fourth in Pro, and he was meant to be competing in our championship
Pro 2,
here.
yeah. So absolutely crazy stuff there. A Pro 2 driver qualifying so many times for the Pro that he actually came fourth in the championship. Had a great year. So guys, let's hear a round of applause from Molly Kerr, leaving the track unfortunately there with the beautiful 350Z. But we will hope to see her out at the end of this one. We will confirm whether the judges deem that as the lead or chase driver's fault, but I would say, look at it, it might just be the chase driver's fault, because it didn't look like anything funny happened from McIlveen, no sudden braking unexpectedly or anything.
Absolutely,
like that.
It just was Molly Kerr really putting a committed, big, heavy dive on to Jake McIlveen.
Well, speaking of commitment, we've got Declan Byrne on the line, who qualified in 11th and being chased in by Alan Connaughty. Double Sylvia battle here. Declan Byrne very committed, usually on entry, a little bit more tentative that time because he knew the conditions. A nice entry there from both drivers, considering that they haven't driven in wet conditions yet. Very impressive stuff there from both of them. Actually, lovely line here from Byrne around the outside of the track. Yeah, pretty much where the judges want to see him, especially in these conditions. You don't want to risk it all. Now Byrne putting foot to floor and finding the grip there, and a big mistake there from Connaughty. He gets it all wrong there at him.
I say, Mike, Declan Byrne, the driver, looks very, very comfortable this weekend, putting down a great lead run there. You could see there as they came into our zone 2 that Alan Connaughty had so much wheel speed, he was kind of just spinning in the spot in this wet, Mike. As I would say, baiting it off the limiter.
Yeah, he was just she was just kind of sitting there spinning wheels, that's for sure. Let's see if he gets onto that dreaded inside part of the track here. Not very inside, it just looks like Byrne just found the grip somewhere, and it could be too much wheel speed or whatever from Connaughty, but just didn't seem to get the zinky out of the traps there, out of the corner as quickly as Byrne did. So I would say with the mistake there and the lack of proximity, it's a really strong 7-3 to Declan Byrne so far.
I'd imagine so too, Mike, but you can see they're back on the grid line now and they're ready to swatch things around as Declan Byrne, a driver who, as I said, looks very comfortable this weekend. I've been following him on social media and he's said great things about the car this weekend. He's in great form and he's ready for it. But Alan Connaughty, a driver that's been driving quite great as well. I watched him trail practice and he's well able for it, so we're going for it again, as we can see their pictures up here on the live stream.
They are indeed. So Leading us in this time is Alan Connaughty. All he can hope to do here is to lead the chase driver astray with a big fast entry. Now he has got the big fast entry, but remember, Byrne will have his spotter on the radio to him, telling him, don't go too crazy here, you have a big advantage. He had it straight, and but Byrne doesn't listen to his spotter. In fact, he puts it right on the wheel there of Connaughty as they come around second corner here, outer zone 2. And contact from both drivers, and Connaughty loses it. Now I'm going to say something very controversial very quickly. Byrne made contact with Connaughty there around the second corner. Has Byrne bent something in the front of Connaughty's car? It's extremely easy to bend a tie rod in these Silvias, or to possibly bend the steering rack. Did he cause something wrong in Connaughty's car? Did Connaughty just make a mistake? But if you think about,
I'm not too sure, Mike, as we watch the replay there, we might actually get a shot at this. We can see our judges kind of discussing it behind us as well.
Yeah, so the judge is just having a discussion about exactly that now. And I see Jeremy Long 13 there putting in a comment that I can't read out, but he's my next door neighbour, and he's telling me basically that it's also raining at home. Thank you, Jeremy. So
a few more comments coming in there as well from Nismo Bobo. I reckon Tom, Kieran and Thomas give up their dry warm tower and get up close and personal with the track instead. Do you know what? I completely agree with that as well. Just once we can stay up here in this nice dry warm tower.
It is nice and dry up here as opposed to being out in the openness of the canopy of the lorry usually. So we can announce going through our last driver before we go to the Molly Kerr, Jake McIlveen second half of the run. But it is our last battle in the top 32 in the bracket. Declan Byrne goes through to the top 16. Alan Connaughty bowing out of competition. The judges deeming there that was an unforced error from Connaughty, and a little bit of a messy lead run from him overall. So Byrne there not deemed at fault, and we are going back to see if we can get a Molly Kerr. If we can get a Molly Kerr,
we're actually going to move on to our top 16 now. It's my first last time just to work on our car there.
Very good,
so
very good.
We're going on to Stuart Gordon and Dylan Wilson for the first battle of the top 16.
Yes, indeed. So this one could have fireworks. Stuart Gordon making his way through number 1 qualifier, Bartek Bleski. So Stuart Gordon.
Stuart Gordon this time in the lead, making loads of noise in a beautiful BMW. Huge angle from the chase driver there.
Yes, so Wilson leading us in here, the higher qualifier. And let's see, just concentrating on this run here, guys, because it's very difficult to when there's a little bit of separation like that, it's very difficult to see exactly what's going on and who's gaining who from where. But the higher qualifier there, once again, maybe at the advantage a little bit. Wilson there in the BMW. Stuart Gordon a little bit all over the place there, and the higher qualifier once again here now with a big advantage, because if he has a spotter, you would hope that he does. He will know that he doesn't have to push hard here. There's a big separation between both drivers, and not a great line there either from Gordon, who qualified in 32nd position, just getting into the show. And I think it's a big advantage here, Wilson. It might be up to 7-3 in old money.
Quite possibly, Mike, quite possibly. But we're about to see it to swap places around now, and the Skyline will be in the lead and the BMW in the chase.
Indeed. So the Skyline flicks it left and flicks it right and flicks it left again. Nice initiation there. They are supposed to stay to their own lane a little bit, but he didn't impede the chase driver. Now let's see what Wilson can do in the chase here, and it's not a bad idea what he's doing. Get into the pocket, don't overcommit, no need to be rubbing doors here. Just stay there nice and safe, but still enough to put the battle to bed. Don't give the judge the decision to make. Intelligent driving here from Wilson. You know what? It's a nice lead run from Gordon, but I don't think it's going to be enough, Adam. It's a very intelligent chase there from Wilson, and once again, that is the advantage of being the higher qualifier. You know how hard you have to push.
Absolutely, Mike, I agree. I'm not too sure what way this is going to go. Both lead and chase were similar in ways.
So we just watched the replay back here, and no need, because we have a result already. The judges saying Dylan Wilson goes through to the Great 8. So getting through the top 16 already, guys. Dylan Wilson in the BMW, the beautiful E92 Wasp-like BMW, going through to the Great 8. So he's looking good. You know what? He's driving great, guys. Let's not count him out for being a bit of a dark horse to take the win today. But I do see that the battle bracket gets a little bit difficult underneath him, because on the line now it is the one and only Callum Coogan leading in Dean Davey. Dean Davey to lead in Callum Coogan, as it is their 8th and 9th place in qualifying, so very evenly matched on paper at least.
Well, Mike, huge angle there from Dean Davies. He comes in for our zone 1. Callum Coogan making a huge drive up in the doors. They come for our zone 2. And that lower powered BMW, but he's still trying to make it work. And that Carrick Carton 180 SX is pushing his way around here. Our zone 3 up close to the wall. Long transition here as they come back in. But that BMW is staying with him, Mike.
Yeah, you know what? The slightly underpowered, naturally aspirated Beamers, they've a real knack in this weather of just kind of labouring and finding the grip, whereas the big turbo cars, they tend to just get going. When the turbo hits boost, it tends to just rise the RPM really quickly, hit the limiter, and the car actually doesn't really accelerate as much as the car, which will just be kind of sitting at a certain RPM at the high RPM range and kind of labouring there a little bit, finding the grip with the rear tyres. So not a bad run by any means there from Davey, but Coogan still able to maintain some proximity. And remember, guys, this is just Pro 2 yet. We are heating up the action. Probably heating up the action. That'd be the heating up, I will say. I wouldn't say hotting up the action. That'd be wrong grammar. So heating up the action tomorrow for Pro 2. And yeah, it's going to get crazy tomorrow, but let's see what happens here. Coogan now, can he make the BMW labour its way around the track and pull out a gap on Davey?
Absolutely, Mike, as Callum Coogan's here in the lead, looks quite comfortable in that car in the rain, but Davey is right up there with him. As much as he has more power and in the wet and a lot of wheel speed, he's keeping it there with that BMW, pushing around our zone 2. Now they make their way back to clipping zone 3. Small bit of proximity after being had from Dean Davey, but close transition from them as well as they come around here. Lovely lead line, I must say, by Callum Coogan, Mike.
Yeah, a really dangerous transition there from Davey at the end, maybe going a little bit offline to do it. Didn't really work out for him, but didn't really penalise him hugely. Nice transition there from Davey. He's very close there, but a little bit of a lack of angle in the chase position from Davey. I think it's a very close run overall. I don't see a huge difference between both drivers. Coogan there, the lead car always seems to pull out a gap there just before the last, before zone 3, should I say. But you see Davey just went offline there a little bit and then comes inside line, so he went off track with a wheel and then comes onto the inside. So I think it's a very close one, but that mistake from Davey there might be enough to hand the win to Coogan. Let's see.
Absolutely, Mike. We can hear our judges behind us here discussing and talking about little things in the battle, both in their lead and their chase runs. I do hear Tom kind of saying there might be a small bit of a straight in there at some point. I'm not too sure, but both drivers are out of their car now. They're chatting away. They're still in good spirits and are having a crack with each other.
They are indeed, yeah. They'll be glad to get out of the cars.
They're here to have fun.
Yeah, the cars get very, very hot in them, so they'll be glad of a little bit of rain to cool them down there after those 2 runs, I'm sure. As we see the wipers there on full blast on both cars, as our screen here even fogs up in the tower. Possibly, I think it's the camera fogging up in the tower, or on there on the live stream. So the conditions getting to everyone here, but we had a bit of a lens wipe there, I'd say, and it's a little bit clearer now for sure. So judges still in deliberation here, guys, and they're watching the replays back. Of course, they have the advantage of unlimited replays.
Absolutely, Mike, and a comment just came in there from Spanner Spoon. That cone's getting some abuse. I do agree. I keep looking at it and feeling quite sorry for it. Even trail practice and early worse. I've just seen things flying across the track so many times, nearly flying up to us here inside the judging tower. But it's still standing, it's still doing its job, and it's as good as new.
It is as good as new, exactly. Spanners Watson there he must be a mechanic, I would say, with a name like that. So hopefully tomorrow is dry. Nismo Bobo, exactly. Hopefully tomorrow is dry. It is forecast for being patchy, which is the most entertaining of all, because one battle it's wet, the other battle it's dry. You get both tire smoke and the fast speed, and then you get the drama of the rain and everything that brings. So we're going to have, I believe we're going to have Dwayne McIver here tomorrow as well to shake it up in our usual pro grid, which is stacked full of the current crop of best drivers in Ireland. And you're not going to go into a battle against any of the top 10 expecting a win here. They're all so strong. We've got a massive depth of field. Of course, Alan Hynes, last year's champion, bowing out this year, taking a year out. And we still, though, despite all the drivers who have left, despite all the drivers who have gone abroad, we have a fully stacked grid of absolute maniacs here tomorrow. But absolutely, we are ready to rock.
Absolutely, Mike. Well, we have the winner of that last battle announced now, and going through to the Great 8 will be Dean Davey. Our second battle of top 16, Dean Davey will making his way through to the Great 8.
So Dean Davey, yeah, I thought that he had a few mistakes there, but overall the judges liking that one. You know, they obviously seeing something that we didn't see here. I thought it was a very close battle, hence how the judges, or why the judges took so long to make their decision there. But Dean Davey going through there, and Callum Coogan, unfortunately for him, boring out. And we go to the line, and it is a big one.
Absolutely, Mike. Two very young drivers, two very talented drivers. One a lot more experienced than the other. But we've got Daniel Devine versus young Jamie Hynes here kicking off. First off will be Daniel Devine in the lead as he brings his 180 SX down for initiation here and in Bishopscourt.
Look how wet it is here.
Kind of holding off. A lot of noise and a lot of power in that 180 SX, but Jamie Hynes is playing it quite safe. Still making a bit of a dive on the door there for outer zone 2, Tom. But he straightens up just a small bit. Quite shallow now, and shuts it down.
Just a small bit is more than a small bit. Unfortunately, getting caught on the inside line there from young Hynes, and young Davey in the lead, looking very, very good here. I think Hynes maybe just getting caught out. Don't think he had a mechanical there, just maybe got caught out as well. Maybe a gear too high. He was on the inside part of the track, maybe gearing too high or something. Didn't get the car back up and running. He just wasn't comfortable from initiation. But look at the water here. You're going to have to get out the K&N filter socks here, guys, because if these cars are in danger soon of taking in water and hydrolocking here, there's so much standing water starting to come on track, and if it gets much worse, that's going to be a real concern. So definitely difficult conditions for these Pro 2 drivers. But you know what? Denny Devine, I think these guys as well would have a combined age on the grid, I would say, of about 34 between both of them.
And Mike?
No, don't say it.
Still younger than you.
Don't say it.
By many years.
No, not much. Not much. I'm 21 yet, in my head. So, yeah, difficult conditions, but just overhearing some information on Molloy Kerr here on that last one of the top 32.
Yes, Mike, so I've just been informed that Molloy Kerr did make it out after her 5-minute rule, but while she did make it back to the line, her wheel was still having issues. It was still broken, the tyre rod wasn't fixed completely, so she will not be allowed to run. So that will be knocking her out and putting Jake McIlveen straight into the top 16.
Yeah, unfortunately they're looking forward to seeing Molloy Kerr and what she can do. Just she knew she had to go hard against Jake McIlveen. Unfortunately went a little bit too hard there, maybe just putting the 350s, those couple of last inches too close to the door of Jake McIlveen, so losing the battle as a result. But she went for it, and that is a commendable way to go, that's for sure. Now if young Hynes leads us in here, Denny Devine staying a little bit back, knowing that he's at a big advantage here.
Young Jamie Hynes, absolutely no fear in him as he gave a massive flick and clutch kick straight into the first initiation. Now we're zone 1. Daniel Devine being quite hesitant there, not even hesitant, but he's holding back just a small bit, playing it safe, knowing well if he gets a solid chase line down here that he will get this battle, because Jamie did have an issue while he was in chase. Jamie putting out quite a good run. It is so wet out there, Mike. As I was saying earlier, this is a very flat track compared to the other tracks that we have throughout the series this year, and it is kind of pooling up a bit of water in several different spots, and you can see it affecting the drivers.
Well, there is an elevation change from the start line down. I would say there's a little bit of a hill down towards the initiation point, so the water is actually running down onto the live track part to the initiation point, so very wet. And big shout out as well there to Shell and Gus watching from home, texting in there on the live stream as well, and lots of people watching from home, even though once again it's a wet Pro 2, but this is the breeding ground for Irish talent. We're literally right in front of us with this battle. We're looking at possibly the next IDC champion coming up through the ranks here in Denny Devine.
Absolutely, Mike, and as you're saying there, Daniel Devine, he will be going through to the Grade 8, so that battle goes to Daniel Devine knocking Jamie Hynes out, but it's definitely something for Jamie Hynes to be proud of. His second ever time competing, Mike, and he got through to the top 16.
Look, a bit of banter there as well between the lads. As we say once again, down my way, two young fellas, but they literally are two young fellas there, and I'm sure we'll be seeing much more Jamie Hynes in the future, but we have to move it along. Who is next?
Up next we have Andrew Molloy and Jake Davey. Jake Davey, our round 1 champion, up against Andrew Molloy, a hard charger, Mike.
A hard charger for sure. Andrew Molloy looking very, very good here in that BMW with all of 210 brake horsepower, 328 engine in that BMW. And you know what? It doesn't matter, because on the way to the initiation point, the wheels are spinning anyway in the Silvias. They can't get the traction down. The most you could probably get down on track right now, despite whatever tire you're on, these guys can't run semi-slick racing tires unless they're on 15-inch wheels, so they have to run road tires, and on a 265 you're not getting anything more than 250 horsepower down here anyway.
Absolutely. Well, we're kicking off this battle of Andrew Molloy in the lead position while Jake Davey is following. Jake Davey, a quite technical driver, but Andrew Molloy sends it in here. That BMW, not too much power in it, but it's perfect for this weather, so it is, Mike. But Jake Davey pushing right up on the doors. They come into outer zone 2. But that BMW is making his way around here quite smoothly, still being able to keep the drift all the way around. But as Jake Davey kind of struggles, he has so much wheel speed to that car, he's trying to make sure he doesn't spin out of the way. Small bit of a correction there as they were in clipping zone 3, a bit shallow for it. But Jake Davey makes a huge dive as he comes up on the door as they cross the line.
Yeah, a big dive there from Davey at the end in order to get back some of that mistake that he committed there in zone 2. So I think he might have gained back some points there, possibly, and it is still all to play for here. But watch this from Davey now. Nice dive there onto the door, but look, he just gets caught a little bit here. And watch, he just seems to like.
Yes, Mike, I missed that, yeah.
I'm not sure exactly what happened there. Did he back out a bit and then just reinitiate really quickly? And the sheer and utter shock through the drivetrain and the extra wheel speed just made him rotate a lot into the inside, possibly.
Absolutely, Mike. You can see the cones just being thrown around the place there, but you can see the massive puddles just here as they come into outer zone 4, splashing up in that replay.
Yeah, definitely, Adam, and definitely as well, very difficult conditions out here. By the time of this, by the time of the Great 8, they should be used to it, but we've got a huge puddle of standing water here in front of us, and when you hit that, if you can imagine your wheels are spinning like really quickly. The car's not moving that quickly in these conditions, but your wheels are spinning really quickly. They can't clear the water. They just can't, because they're sitting on top of a puddle of water spinning around, so they don't actually clear it. And you can actually get, sometimes the car will actually like hydroplane, pretty much sitting on the spot because it's spinning around on a puddle of water. Absolutely, on top of it. So yeah, it's the physics of all this get very, very interesting as well, and these lads will be running very low tyre pressures in order to let the tyres squirm around on the rim and to put a big flat surface of tyre down on the track, essentially running semi-flat tyres.
Absolutely, well, we're kicking off here. Jake Davey's in the lead this time. Jake Davey, a very technical driver, as I said, so he might be pushing everything he can, but that BMW is just perfect for this weather, and he's trying to keep up there. Small bit of a correction there as he tries to go up in Jake Davey's door for outer zone 2. Well,
it was a small correction. Molloy is doing everything pretty much right here in the chase position. Can he get onto the door now of Davey? Davey's on a lovely outside line though. That's a really nice line from Davey. Molloy just backs out of the chase a tiny bit there, and it's a better line from Davey this time. It's a really good lead line from Davey. Molloy is right there with him, maybe not on the door, but guys, let's hear a round of applause in these conditions for Jake Davey and Andrew Molloy.
Absolutely, Mike. I would hate to be the judge in this one. That was quite a close one from my opinion of things. Both two very good drivers. Both.
They're on big money, them fellas, the judges.
Oh, the big money.
Big money, a lot more than us.
Didn't know we get paid to be here, Mike.
Well, you don't, but I do.
What?
Joking.
I
take it in sweets from Tom Murphy. That's how I take payment, which I'm going to have right now, because somebody ate all the strawberry ones. Not looking at anybody in particular, Adam, but there is one orange one left, so I'm going to have the orange one.
Don't choke this time, Mike.
I'll try not to choke.
We're waiting for a result in here from our judges as we're going to find out who's the winner of this. You can see that they're watching the replays back, trying to figure out, but I do think a result has happened, and I'm just about to hear back. The result is in, Mike. Let me know.
Yes, indeed, and going through to the Great 8, it is actually Andrew Molloy goes through to the Great 8 and continues his charge. The County Down man, the local man, continuing his charge. Could it be a dream Saturday here for Molloy? He's the local man. Could he be standing on top of the podium? He'll start to believe now, Adam. He doesn't need the horsepower here. He's driving really well. Is he going to start to believe that he can be on top of the podium here in front of his home crowd?
Mike, you never know. As we said from our first battle in the Top 32, things are being flipped upside down on our head. The underdog is winning all these battles. Either way, we're making it our time into the second half of Grade 8. It is Alex Butler versus Peter Molloy. Alex Butler, huge dive in outer zone 1, way too much, and throwing the cones and water barriers absolutely everywhere here across the track, but he tries to keep it going. I'm not too sure what way that's going to work, Mike. Pass it over to you.
We have to have a look at the replay of that one again, see was it 4 wheels off or what happened there for Butler. Unfortunately for him, big mistake there, and yeah, Peter Molloy doing his best, as you hear him putting foot to floor there with the Beamer engine. What exactly is after happening?
Peter Molloy's front bumper delete. Okay. It's not. He was like, I don't like that anyway. It's only getting away the water.
Exactly. Yeah. It's just
get rid of that.
Get rid of the bumper. So Alex Butler with a huge mistake here in initiation. Did he just get... Yeah, look, he just skidded on top of that water. Exactly what I said.
Exactly what you said, Mike. He went across that water. He didn't go through it. He didn't slow down his wheels, anything like that. He literally was like... What was the words he said?
Aquaplaning or hydroplaning.
That. He literally did that straight across it.
It could be an all-Molloy final.
It possibly could be.
So Andrew Molloy, who won our last battle, and Peter Molloy are brothers. If this keeps happening, we could see an all-Molloy final.
That's very possible, Mike, and we don't know. There's so many families of drifting.
With 400 horsepower in the final combined. And who
400
cares?
horsepower between the two cars, while we have other cars here that is literally 4 times that.
I want an inquest into where all the strawberry sweets went, because I've just had an orange one and it's really nice, but it's only the yucky lemon ones are left. So, Adam, I'm not very happy with you. But anyway, we have to move it along.
You've no sweets, mate.
Rad Don Burkett, I have to read out what he just showed to me. He said, Rad Don Burkett, when we were on about the All-Molloy final, he said, when you order the Shanahans from Timu. And I had to read that out, but he does that in jest because he's good friends with the lads. But it had to be said. That's his car, exactly. So he's such good friends with him that he's after loaning him. He's after loaning Peter Molloy his own car. So, you know, he's allowed to say that.
He just wants to see his own car in the final. That's what's happening there, Mike.
He's allowed to say that then. He wants to see his own car, exactly. The car that he had built for him because he's such a superstar is our Rad Don Burkett. Not Rad Dan Burkett, that's a different guy. He's way less exciting. Rad Don Burkett, yes, I am sitting down. Why wouldn't I? I'm old. Taking it easy. Tomorrow's another day.
Tomorrow's another day, Mike. You're going to have to stand all day again tomorrow.
My orange sweet. And you can see that all the yucky, look at all the yucky lemon ones. Horrible. And Adam has eaten, just to prove to people at home, look at all the empty wrappers. Oh, the camera went off me, but I have lots of wrappers here on the table of the red strawberry sweets, which are now empty and gone, and I presume they're in Adam's belly.
There's no proof of it, Mike. It was not on the camera. I'm just going to give another shout out there to our live stream team who just let you look very silly there because they didn't see what you're on about. There's no strawberry sweets here. There never was.
The proof is in the pudding of all the empty wrappers, and I'm not happy. So, okay, we have a bar here as well, actually, for tonight. I never realised that. I was half contemplating going to Ballymoney for the Joy Dunlop thing, but you know what? It might be a bit late. There's a bar here. We'll see.
We'll have to see, Mike. Either way, we're coming straight back into this battle as Peter Molloy and Alex Butler are going again. Peter Molloy being a lot more hesitancy initiates and coming around, and it worked out great for him. He didn't do the mistake that Alex Butler had. Alex Butler's making a big dive to try to get as much points on the board and put this more his way as possible. But I don't know, is that going to be enough, Mike? His mistake in his lead run was quite a lot. Either way, Peter Molloy putting on quite a solid run here. Not the fastest, what can you expect in the rain, but he's doing everything he can to get it across the line safely and try to secure this battle for himself.
Yeah, I mean, you have to really commend Alex Butler there for a fantastic chase, but was it all over on the first corner for Butler? He had a big mistake, went through the barriers, went off track, and you know, he did everything for the second half of the run especially. He did everything pretty right from the chase, but is it too little too late?
I think it was just a little too late, or a little too late. Yeah, I already said that wrong.
You did, you said that.
Word has come in from our judges.
What?
And going through to the Great 8.
Use your words, Adam.
Will be Peter Molloy.
Use your words. Peter Molloy goes through to the Great 8. We're still on course for an all-Molloy final. And remember, guys, Peter Molloy is in a borrowed car, the borrowed car of Rad Don Burkett. So we are still on course for an all-Molloy final. What a spectacle that would be. But we have to move it along. And to face Peter Molloy in the next round, it'll be one of these two drivers.
It will be Marcus Heinen or Luke Talley.
It will be Luke Talley or Marcus Heinen. Marcus Heinen, the higher qualifier, leads us in these crazy conditions. Is he going to get caught out? He's very fast. Whoa. Heinen is very fast. He's way too fast.
Luke Talley's door.
Huge contact from both drivers. Unfortunately there, Heinen just coming in way too hard. And guys, if that one didn't sound bad at home, it sounded bad here. So Luke Talley staying.
Luke Talley's door opened. And then Luke Talley's door to the side of it. That door's not opening again now, Mike.
Luke Talley's door, I missed that. Luke Talley's door opened, right? Oh wow.
Wide open. He was trying to correct himself and bring it back. So
maybe he tried to bail out, man. Maybe he pulled the eject card there and tried to bail out.
He was like, I accidentally pressed it.
Yeah, like F-18 style there. I'm gone here. Top Gun style. Maybe he did a bit of a, Tom Cruise there and bailed out. But that didn't go well in Top Gear.
Absolutely,
so yeah,
such a shame because it's such a beautiful car. But it's still at the same time,
it's not that beautiful now one side of it anymore. But
still beautiful.
I'm sure you get doors for GT86s everywhere anyway. Every scrapyard in the country has doors.
I saw the shop down the road. There's a small country shop. They were selling fruit and veg and stuff. But on the back of the shelves, just behind the counter,
doors for GT86.
Yeah, purple ones actually too.
Nice.
And they had exemplar written on them. I don't know how, but sure, look.
You get those really easy. Yeah.
Yeah, very easy. Either way, Mike Heinen was was in the lead there, and he did make the mistake of coming way off.
No, we're all getting a bit taken away with the entertainment value of this exactly, but Marcus Heinen, I have to say here, he's sitting on a 0 here. He came in way too hot. He's a great driver, and I know exactly what he was trying to do. He was trying to come in too hot for Tally to follow him, but it didn't work out for him. And I would say that's obviously the defining moment of the run here. But
Absolutely.
The lead driver was completely and utterly at fault there. Now, okay, Tally should have been able to preempt that. Heinen has gone off track here. He should have slowed. But at that stage, I think Heinen was already 4 wheels off.
Absolutely, Mike. And you can see Luke Talley's actually heading back to the pit, so I'm not too sure. It's not being confirmed yet. Is he after taking a 5-minute rule, maybe just taking the car? Or the
He's probably just gone
out?
down to get a GT86 door there off that corner shop. On
yes, sure. But it's 6:10 now. They're probably closed.
They're probably closed. He'll get it tomorrow. They'll be open Sunday.
Sure, look, it'll be grand. Either way, I think we're going to move into our next battle now. I'm not too
Well,
sure.
we have to see what's going on here first, I guess.
Hear back. Well, Mike, at least it's not just us that don't know what's going on, because it doesn't look like they don't know what's going on behind us.
Okay, so sorry, Adam. There, just was Sean Healy was in my ear there. Our track controller. It is indeed Marcus Heinen's fault, and Luke Talley has called his competition timeout. So Luke Talley basically now has until the end of the bracket to fix his GTR 86, which is again has a GR86 front, but it's a GT86, so it's a GTR 86.
Absolutely, Mike. I don't know. I couldn't really see it from the live stream feed or from where we are here. I don't know if it's going to do any mechanical or suspension damage from where he is.
I think it looked like his door and the back of Heinen's car is cut away quite well, you know, and the back of these Silvias all are. So he's not going to have any sill damage or anything. It's not as if he hit anything structural in Heinen's car. It's all tubed at the back. So I would say that his door is just in bits, and maybe his cage and maybe his elbow got a little touch as well through the cage or something. But
Quite
it's not going to be bad.
Yeah. As we always say, safety is number one priority, and all these drivers do actually have their cage coming around on the door with door bars to make sure any situation like this they are safe and prevented from getting hit by
Welding cage NASCAR bars are an X on your door, and you have to, because of exactly this situation. I've been there myself many times, and you're really glad at the cage sometimes when you need it. The back of those cars is pretty hard, and all these doors as well, guys. Of course, they're gutted. The inside of them, it's not as if you have your electric window switch and all your panels on the inside. There's absolutely nothing left. Even you would actually take out the OEM bracing, the strengthening in the door, because it weighs something, and so you basically have a really thin skin left. So you want your cage there. It's a good thing to have the cage, yeah.
Anyways, Mike, I think we're just waiting for our next battle to get started here as drivers are just about to start warming their tyres. But how do you think top 16 is going so far?
Yeah, very exciting. Really liking it. It's obviously difficult for the drivers in these conditions, but it always throws up quite a lot of drama and quite a lot of entertainment value, I guess. You obviously want to see it in the dry conditions for the sheer speed and the sheer commitment that the drivers can afford in those conditions. But you got to take it. It's Ireland. We've had 4 or 5 weeks of great weather here. Unfortunately, it's just broken the wrong weekend for us. But then again, it is making it entertaining. We are seeing lots of thrills and spills as a result, and I think it's been good and entertaining. We've seen a lot of underdogs getting their chance. You put the Molloys in those cars in Mondello Park, they're out of competition in the top 32. They can't keep up with the pace of the cars up the straight in Mondello. So I think it's a good leveler over the course of a championship. Seeing this weather in a tighter track, it's good to see it. Yeah, I'm liking it.
Absolutely, Mike. I presume if you asked a lot of people last week, what way do you think the championship is going to go? What way do you think even round 2 will go? I bet you would have said Jake Davey, the likes of Daniel Devine, a lot of Bartek, Navickas, I nearly forgot how to pronounce it there. I got it right though. They'd be the ones we'd be seeing up on the top here, but unfortunately today it's not working out that way. Either way, whoa! Nearly huge connection. Whoa, I don't even know what happened there, Mike. I didn't even get a chance. It's Marcus Heinen and Luke. No, I'm incorrect. It's Andrew Kenna and Justin Murphy. Andrew Kenna came in there, loads of angle. Justin Murphy unfortunately had basically zero driving through outer zone 1, and Andrew Kenna, I don't know how he did not make contact there, Mike.
Well, indeed, yeah, mad stuff. And I've just after spilling a bottle of water on myself with the excitement here, and it looks like I've had an accident. So that's all interesting for the night now, as I don't have a change of clothes with me, so that'll be great. But yeah, that was all too exciting for me anyway.
I was wondering what was going on there beside me. Either way, yeah, geez, definitely excitement both to my left and my right here up in the judging tower. I'm not. I don't even know what happened there, Mike.
Well, it's all fun and games until you spill water on your pants at the front. So that's going to be interesting for the night. Me explaining exactly what happened.
Just say you went out in the rain.
I went out in the rain, and it just really locally rained on me. So yeah, that's all good. that's all good. But yeah, we'd hopefully, if anybody has a hairdryer, could bring it to the tower there, please. I need one.
Yeah, possibly. We go back to business anyway, Mike, and we're going to swap things around there. We'll talk a bit more about that last run there. Either way, this time it's Andrew Kenna in the lead position in his Altezza. It's Justin Murphy.
Oh, look at this.
Such a huge puddle of Murphy. Oh, such a huge puddle of Murphy, such a huge puddle of water.
Yeah.
Andrew Kenna did get it across the line there, and there wasn't any huge mistakes. He does look like he's straightened up just a small bit there for hours on too, though, Mike.
Yeah, conditions really catching out both drivers here now. It's looking very, very difficult out there now with the aquaplaning, and yeah, wow. Look at this, a nice second half of the lap there from Kenna. Murphy not with any real answer for him, and I think, you know what, at this stage it's almost more now battling conditions, Adam. It's not really down to aggression on the chase or anything. I think it's coming down to who's able to deal with the conditions better.
Absolutely, Mike, and I did just hear an announcement from our judges as to who won that battle, and that would be going to Andrew Kenna, and he definitely deserves that one after somehow managing to keep it sideways and somehow not making contact with Justin Murphy. Justin Murphy taking a break now for the rest of the weekend, maybe going off to our second track, but either way, Andrew Kenna will be making his way into the Great 8.
Indeed he is. So we move it along, and on the line we have the last battle bracket of our top 16. For the last place in the Great 8, it is none other than Jake McIlveen, 6th place qualifier, to lead in Declan Byrne, our 11th place qualifier. McIlveen leads us in, through the water. McIlveen's gone very wide. He washes, he aquaplanes. Byrne has to get out of the way. Surely it's a 0 for McIlveen there, surely.
I would imagine so, Mike. You look like 4 tyres completely off where the judges want you to have your car. I'm not too sure. Declan Byrne very lucky there. That could have been contact. That could have been quite dangerous for him. That could have damaged his car, even though he's feeling so confident in this weekend. Either way, the two lads are trying to finish out their run here and try to make fun of it. Contact there at the end. Declan Byrne goes up to the rear end of that CDM Sport E46.
Yeah, we have to see here. Is it 4 wheels completely off track? I think it definitely has to be honest, for McIlveen. And, you know, aggression versus... it's risk versus reward with aggression, and I don't think the rewards are there right now in these conditions, because there's so much standing water on the entry there as it runs down the hill. It's hard to see the elevation change here, but there is a hill down the start straight there, so I think that amount of water is just causing drivers huge issues on the way in as they start to aquaplane over the top of that water instead of, you know, the tire basically being on tarmac.
Absolutely, Mike. You can see it really pulling up there, exactly where they just come off a transition after initiation, where they're meant to be clutch kicking that car and then coming into our zone 1. I can't even make out where our zone 1 is now because our water barriers have gone everywhere across the track, but you can see that big huge puddle of water. I imagine these cars are getting caught now. It's putting them where they're not meant to be. They don't really have control over it. They're just kind of hoping for the best and hoping they can get through that and get into our zone 1. It looks like once they do get into our zone 1, things are a lot more easier for them. They can do the rest of the track, gives them confidence, but if that messes up their line there at the start, that can mess up their whole run.
Yeah, I have to agree with everything there, Adam, and it's going to be difficult as well to see out of these cars right now. Of course, none of them run heaters because, once again, back to weight, you have to get these cars as light as humanly possible, and the vast majority at least would not be running heater systems because you get that stuff out of the way, and a lot of these cars wouldn't even have, you know, original dashes in them. They just run a little bar across the dash bar across and a little digital dash on top of it, but it's going to be difficult to see as a result. Then the window starts to fog up, and the heat inside the car makes the window outside, you know, you have the moisture in the air then from your race suit and stuff.
Hope things go his way throughout this run. Anyways, I want to give a huge shout out to all our marshals out on track today. As you can see, throughout the last couple of battles, especially when things have gone AWOL, they've gone absolutely all over the place. They have been fixing everything. No matter how wet and rainy it is out there, they're still working hard and making sure this event runs smoothly and goes great.
Yeah, big up to the marshals always. The IDS marshals doing their best and doing a fantastic job of keeping these events running, regardless of whether it is sweltering sun or conditions such as now, where they are absolutely drowned into the skin and must do it all over again tomorrow, of course. And lots of them staying on site here, so they'll be basically wet for the night and back doing it all again tomorrow. But I do believe there is sunshine tomorrow till around the start of the middle of qualifying.
Absolutely, Mike. We'd hope so anyways. Try dry things up somewhat so this rain isn't staying here till tomorrow, along with more coming down. And hopefully, if it dries up just a small bit, it'll work out great for us. Either way, I'm going to go over to the live chat there on our live stream and give a few shout outs to Java Jack, who's been coming in. There's a few people saying different things about initiating into a lake. Quite correct from what I can see there. I'd imagine there's about an inch sitting of water, a bit of a pool there, but these drivers are well capable of it. They all have the highest of safety gear. Their cars are made out for these situations, Mike, and they are they're not going to let it hold them back. They're still going to send it. They're still going to give it everything. A bit of rain won't hurt no one. We're Irish.
As Jared Danda says, send it. So yeah, and big shout out as well to Ian Waddington and Jacob Gittins on their work commentary there, on commentary of Drift Masters last weekend. I have to say, I was watching it in the sunshine at home, and it was fantastic to listen to the guys. Great insight from Gittins and great calling of the runs from Ian. So if you guys are listening, big up to you. Great job.
Absolutely, Mike. I agree with you on that one. Either way, we're going to get into the second one. This is Declan Byrne is in the lead position. Doesn't look like it.
Whoa! Byrne has gone straight on. So wow. Okay. Is this going to be a 0-0?
Mike, I'm not too sure. It looks like, as you were saying there, I can't remember that big word you used, but once he was on top of that water, he could not control that car. That car was not going to steer from it, and he controlled that quite well to come out of it safely.
Well,
either way.
Okay, so are we going to... We have to speak with the judge on this, but are we going to assume that Jake McIlveen had a 0 on the first run, Declan Byrne then didn't initiate in the second one, so it's a 0. It could be 0-0 here. It might be a run him again.
It quite could be, and I'd be sure to say that a CDM Sport E46 would be quite happy if it was a 0-0, because then he gets the opportunity to run against by his mistake in his run. Unfortunately for Declan Byrne, though, won't be working in his favour. Then it'd basically be a restart of everything again. They'll just have to go for it.
Yeah, there might be a car problem here for Byrne, and it is the last battle of our top 16. Okay, so we're just hearing that Declan Byrne lost drive in his car. He came in through the puddles. So my Sherlock Holmes powers of deduction here would say that something electrical is after getting wet in that car, and he lost drive. So basically that leads us in the situation that Jake McIlveen came in the first corner way too hot.
Absolutely, and then Declan Byrne came in a little too hot as well, to be honest. Just things didn't work out from lost power in the car.
Basically, so Declan Byrne giving the universal sign of, yeah, she's in trouble here. It is the last battle of our top 16. I think in the interest of time, we will move it on to the Great 8 and get back to this one. It does make it a little bit messy to follow it, but we'll guide you guys through it at home.
Absolutely, so that will be a one more time, just to confirm. Yes.
Yeah, so it's basically, guys, it is a 0 for Jake McIlveen, then it's a 0 for Declan Byrne. So we are going to go one more time with this battle, assuming that Declan Byrne can fix his car. Now, in the event of Declan Byrne not being able to get that car running, I think it should be an electrical problem, but it could have fried something there now, possibly. Hopefully not. Hopefully it's just something electrical under the bonnet there after getting wet, and it's easily sorted. But if Declan Byrne can't get his car back going, I believe that Jake McIlveen just has to leave the line, show that he can drift, and he is through to the Great 8.
I'd imagine so, Mike. So that would be our second one more time of the top 16. Or from what I can just hear behind me, actually, news has just come in, and I'm sure Mike will just about update you on that.
Yeah, so what do I know? It is not electrical. Declan Byrne is out. He believes it to be a prop shaft, which is surprising because usually a prop shaft comes in the dry conditions over like a bump or a curb or something when there's a little bit of a shock through the drivetrain or a little bit of a height change for a half shaft or something. Not in these conditions when, you know, the drivetrain isn't under severe strain because the grip levels are already low, but unfortunately that is what we are hearing. So Declan Byrne is out of competition, which means that I'll just double check the regulations here. Does Jake McIlveen automatically progress, or does he? So Jake McIlveen automatically, in the circumstances, progresses to the Great 8 because Jake McIlveen has a working car. Declan Byrne will not be able to contest the second battle, so we are moving it along straight to the Great 8.
Absolutely, what a shame for Declan Byrne, a driver who's absolutely going great over the weekend for him. But definitely a weekend to be proud of. You can definitely look back on it, and I'm not saying bad about it. Yes, he did have car issues now, and it is knocking him out. But the weekend went great for him. He felt comfortable in that car from what I could see. He was doing some absolutely unbelievable runs. The weather did just catch things out and kind of mess up things for everyone, but it could have been worse, Mike. He's safe. Car's not in the worst condition possible.
Yeah, well, that was my understanding of what will happen here. If there's any change to that officially, we will confirm that with you guys. So just getting little bits of information there from our head track marshal Sean Healy. As once again, I'm absolutely soaked anyway because I've spilled a whole bottle of water on myself. But I think into the car now with the heaters on for a while, Adam, and we'll be grand.
Absolutely, Mike. A few pints and it'll warm you up. We can see a few messages coming in there from 86, the Mad Hatter. Lads, I'd say just go rock, paper, scissors and leave them go at it.
Yeah, I reckon that could be a way to do it, because the next thing now here is there's going to be a car taking in water here next, and it's going to be it's an engine taking in water here next. It's crazy conditions here up here in Bishopscourt for IDS round 2. So hopefully we will get a clean grade 8. We have made good progress actually through the top 16, so hopefully the grade 8 will be a little bit cleaner. The drivers should actually know the conditions a little bit better. If you do have an air filter sock which will let air through but not water through, I would definitely be putting it on at this stage. Keep the water out of the engines. They don't like it unless it's water injection and it's kind of very measured.
Yeah, it's probably not the best thing to mix in with all the fuel and the oil within that engine.
Not in big clumps of it, at least, anyway. Yeah.
Definitely not when you're going through a puddle like that, or as they say inside the comments here, a little lake of it, Mike.
Little lake of it, exactly. And so we are just recovering Declan Burns stricken Sylvia there off track, and so a quick look through the battle bracket, I guess. There in the grade 8 we have Dylan Wilson in the BMW against Dean Davey. We'll have Danny Devine against Andrew Molloy. He's giving away 3 times the horsepower in that one. Does it matter in these conditions? I don't know. Peter Molloy, another giant killer, brother of Andrew Molloy, who he can meet in the final, is on the right hand side of the bracket, facing off against whoever will come out of the Marcus Heinen Luke Talley one. And then we have Andrew Kenna versus Jake McIlveen, who we just saw go off track. So they are 2 wild men. So that's going to be very interesting. So basically the only one that's left to be decided is Marcus Heinen versus Luke Talley, and that is of course Marcus Heinen going off track, Luke Talley following him. So you have to fancy Talley unless he scores a 0 as well, which is fully possible.
Quite possible, Mike. I'm not too sure things could actually go anyway. From the second the battle series has started today, things have completely gone complete opposite of what I would have expected from majority of the battles. So it's early days, yes. We could see someone in a 240 brake horsepower BMW getting to the final and coming out in that top spot. Someone else maybe low enough in the qualification at the moment.
You could see 2 220 or 30 horsepower BMWs in the final in the hands of 2 brothers, actually, the way things are going, to be honest. And I mean, who would bet against them? Because it has been an event of, as Kieran Hynes inappropriately, I might say, touches me. Not allowed in the workplace.
It's caught on video, it's okay.
Caught on video. You're in trouble now, Kieran Hynes. It's bravery now. That's me coming back drifting anyway and winning every event, to be honest.
Every event,
video. So that's my fast track to being actually good at it. What were we saying?
I'm not too sure.
My mind has been blown by Kieran Hynes inappropriately.
Whatever way you'd like to say. Either way, I'm looking down at the grid line. The rain is still coming down. Stop laughing here beside me. Either way, it's Marcus Heinen and Luke Talley setting up again, warming up their tyres before they come out for the second one in their battle. Or to give it one more go and see where things can go from this, Mike.
I would actually try to show the camera my pants, but it's you can't really see it in camera, but it's very, very wet as well, and it looks like So that's me embarrassed for the night anyway, explaining myself away to everybody.
You know, they can't see your pants. You don't have to admit that on the stream.
Yeah.
Decided to.
It's been crazy, but I mean, what I was saying was, the Molloy brothers, okay, everybody's making mistakes, like everybody. It seems like horsepower is actually, shall I say it, a disadvantage almost in this situation. Maybe if you had a big V8 like an LS or whatever with a big, throttle response instant, maybe that would be a good thing to have. But a turbo engine with a bit of turbo lag is a bad thing to have in these conditions, even though you think, it's got no resistance against the back wheels really with the water, but they still tend to sit in the mid-range a little bit more, and you have to be dancing on the clutch a little bit more to get them up and going. Just because you're moving more slowly and your gearing isn't right, and when you're in the dry conditions you can just put foot to floor and they work. So possibly the underpowered, naturally aspirated BMWs might be a real dark horse here.
Absolutely, Mike. So we can see the two drivers up on the grid line getting ready to start. I'm not too sure what seems to be the hold up, but while we're here, I may as well give a shout out to everybody that's still here in attendance up in Bishopscourt Diff and Drift. Just sticking out, Mike, no matter the rain. Either way, we're going to get back into it. Luke Talley's here in the lead, followed by...
Whoa, Dr. Marcus Heinen. To quote Jared Dienda again, Marcus Heinen fires it in and once again has problems here, shuts down the Sylvia. And I'm not sure exactly what the issue is there with Heinen's car, but Luke Talley is doing everything right here, and he is going to be booking himself a place in the Great 8, because I'm going to call it 10-0.
Absolutely, Mike.
And thank you 86, the Mad Hatter. You are absolutely right. Exactly, Adam, if you were a true friend, you would be helping out a brother here, but maybe not on camera. So thank you guys for the comments. Keep us entertained here, and we are checking them all out and reading out what ones we can when we get a chance. So keep them coming, and be sure to tune in tomorrow when everything gets turned up many notches further up from this. And I think it's going to be wet, dry, but more so dry, because it's the sunshine is due through the clouds, I believe, tomorrow. As we see a dejected young Jamie Hynes here taking what's left of his front bumper, the crater.
Yeah.
He'll be telling him all in school now on Monday. Or is he he's probably off now. Is he on holidays now?
Not too sure.
He'll be flat out now working for the summer, making a few pounds for the car.
Quite possibly, yeah. I'd say the father would have my work. Either way, the result is in from that last battle, and it will be going to Luke Talley.
So Luke Talley, no surprises there, going through to the Great 8. It was a little bit of a surprise to see Marcus Heinen buying out of competition so early. Looking very, very good there in qualifying and practice this morning, but unfortunately for him, a little bit too aggressive there, and putting himself out of competition. So we move it along, guys. It's heating up. It's the Great 8. Each of these drivers has now won 2 battles already, but conditions continue to change here and deteriorate as we see a big puddle of water on the entry here. Who will be able to deal with it? Who will be the driver who best can navigate this track, which is quickly becoming a swimming pool? And I think, it's going to be the guy who can deal with the conditions. Adam.
Quite possibly, yes. It is BMW on BMW. No, sorry, I'm mistaken. I can't see it properly from up here, Mike. But either way, these two are very good drivers. It's Dylan Wilson and Dean Davey.
Yeah, and it's Nissan versus
Nissan versus
BMW. The classic Pro2 battle. You will have one set of fans on one side, one set of fans on the other side, each thinking that either the Japanese or the German chassis is the better way to go. You get plenty opportunities to see it proven one way or the other in Pro2 competition in Ireland, that's for sure. But it is one of the slightly more modern BMW chassis in the E92, and which is becoming a much more popular chassis. James, of course, has the Eurofighter, and we've seen them campaigned in Formula Drift and across Europe in Drift Masters. But it is Nissan versus BMW. It's Davey to lead in.
Whoa,
Dylan Wilson
Mike,
here.
huge angle backwards entry here. I don't know if you saw that. You were looking down our notes here, but that car was basically covered by water there, Mike. He was flooded over. You can still see the seam coming off it. I imagine that's coming from some hot components and towards the back of the car. I won't be too technical about it, but either way, that was quite dangerous, Mike. Like, what way your thing is going to go here? That is a huge puddle that's up there. It's going to be really tricky for these drivers to dial in and figure out what way it's going to be. They're going to have to try to figure that out.
Yeah, I mean, but you got to drive the conditions. Davey there flicked it in. Like, that was brave, I will say, but it was almost an initiation that you would have done in the dry. I agree. And it's like Mondello when it gets wet. You have to be so tentative on the entry to Mondello Park. The second it rains, you have to just nurse the car in with almost no angle, and you're feathering the handbrake. And I think that might be what's needed here, rather than a big aggressive flick entry there. And I think, to be honest, I'm just going to call it here, I think Davey was over aggressive.
I think so. Dean Davey was really trying to push it, and I think he just really wants to try to get that proximity. He knew if he got through to outer zone 1, he had the rest of the track. There is puddling of water around the track as well in different zones.
He wanted to go fast.
He wanted to go fast. It looks cool.
It
looks cool when you go fast.
We all want to go fast.
Yeah. Boy stuff, car stuff, fun stuff.
Yeah, go fast.
Fast stuff.
He just wanted to go fast. So, unfortunately, he couldn't go fast through that big puddle because his car didn't have any grip, and he spun and is now, I will make a call here. I'm not judging, thankfully, today.
Absolutely.
But it is going to be a 10-0 to a former king of the cone. That's not a joke, I believe. Dylan Wilson.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, Dylan Wilson's up next in the lead position, and I'm just going to put out my prediction. I imagine he's going to take it very, very handy on the initiation coming into our zone 1, especially after seeing how it is there. In between each run, each battle, you can see the conditions changing on the track.
We actually have the potential for an all BMW top 4 here, actually, if it works out that way, I believe. Do we? Yeah, Jake McIlveen.
Yeah, we do.
We do. We have a potential for an all BMW top 4 here, so that's going to be crazy. And it's looking like we're going to have one BMW locked in for the top 4, because all that Dylan Wilson has to do here is
he makes it, Mike. He makes it.
He makes it.
True.
He nurses the BMW in here, and that BMW with 2 JZ power. I saw the bonnet pulled. Very impressive build actually under the bonnet of that BMW. If you get a chance to check that car out, be sure to do so. And if you're coming along, of course, here tomorrow at the Bishopscourt Diff and Drift, be sure to get up close and personal with these cars, which you can do. And it's a nice lead run here from Wilson, bearing in mind the conditions, and does everything he needs to do, and he crosses the line. And guys, bear in mind as well that the top 4 drivers from today's competition will be eligible for competition tomorrow. They can get the semi-slicks on those cars, and they can get themselves into pro action tomorrow. And we can confirm going through to that top 4, it is
Dylan Wilson will be going through to the top 4 here in the BMW. That's the first of 4 possible BMWs to be in our top 4 here today, Mike.
Well, the second one has a bit of an ask here now, because you know what? Andrew Molloy has done fantastically well. The County Down man has done everything he needed to do. He's battled against the odds in an underpowered car. He qualified very highly in an underpowered car in the drive, but now he's got his biggest task. It is the one and only Daniel Devine, the championship leader, or the championship second place driver, now the championship leader, I will say, as his competitors bow out possibly. So yeah, it's pretty much in the balance here now, this one for the all BMW final.
Absolutely. Daniel Devine, a great driver, a very talented young fella, and well able to drive no matter what the conditions are. But he's up against Andrew Molloy. Andrew Molloy has been going really good. Like, he's not got the most highest horsepower car here, but these conditions are working out perfect for him. It's exactly what he wanted, I'd imagine, Mike.
Well, you know, every time I see Danny Devine drive, he does show, I think he shows intelligence beyond his years and experience. He seems like a guy who's driving with 7-8 seasons rather than a young fella who's just kind of making his way through the classes. So let's see if he can put that intelligence to use here. Look, he does. Very nice tentative entry there. Doesn't flick the card, doesn't do anything too serious or too crazy, just gets it in. But now look at Molloy, he's doing everything right here. Molloy making that BMW labour here now, the higher horsepower car of Denny Devine, not with a big advantage, does pull a little bit of a gap out, as many of the lead cars do through here. Let's see now, he gets a switch back up. Denny Devine gets a flick back, holds the back of the S13, and Andrew Molloy still right there with him, so this one is still all to play for here, guys.
Absolutely, Mike. Andrew Molloy, very consistent over his last couple of runs. You can see there as Daniel Devine came in and initiated as we watched the replay. He held off a bit. He knew there was going to be that big dive of war there. He didn't know what way he was going to deal with it. Maybe if he was in the chase position first, he could have had a better chance to deal with it when he comes to his lead run. I'm not too sure, but now Andrew Molloy has that advantage of knowing what it's like to go through that little bit of pummel, and that might work out for him, Mike. He might be able to send it in, maybe hold it long enough and just get into our zone 1 and maybe put that car around, because that car is working perfectly within these conditions.
It is. Well, I'm going to call it here. I think that this one, you never know, but I think that a lot of this one is going to come down to how they get off the line here.
Absolutely.
Because Molloy is going to be able to put the power down. NA cars are very easy to modulate the throttle. The turbo cars, they are quite responsive, especially with a good map and a not huge turbo. They're not bad, but you do get that surge of power. You have to be very good with the clutch and the throttle in order to stop the wheel spin in this kind of conditions.
Absolutely, yes.
When the grip is really low, so it's so easy for them. You're just kind of hanging there and you're just kind of holding it at like quarter boost or half boost, and the next thing she just decides to get going and it just revs its brains out, and you end up going slower. You end up not accelerating. So it's going to be how they get it to the first corner. I think Danny Devine is not letting him get away, though. He's right there with Molloy. Yeah, he pretty much is. Molloy enters, a little bit of a waiver from Molloy, but not a bad entry from either driver here as they make their way through the huge puddles here. Now Devine looks for the door of Molloy here, the local man from County Down, trying to get away from the Nace man. It is the Irish Championship here, of course. We have the whole country descending upon this class in order to try to make their way into the pro class and have fun while they're doing it. Now both drivers navigating these very tricky conditions, and it's a very good run from both drivers. But is that enough from Devine just across the line to sway the judges at him, or is it going to be one more time? It's very close.
I'm really not too sure, Mike. You can see there as Andrew Molloy came in, he was hesitant, he was holding off, but he did it perfectly. He was really deep into outer zone 1. If that was dry and that was the line he put down, we'd all be applauding him right now.
Yeah.
We still are, of course.
Of course.
And Daniel Devine's chase run there was actually flawless. It's really showing his true talent and the skill that he has for such a young driver.
Well, Andrew Molloy is here to have fun this season and prove that you can do it in another power car. He's already done it today. Denny Devine is here staying down in Pro 2 in order to ply his trade, hopefully win the Pro 2 championship. And the championship can come down to moments like this. So for the Pro 2 championship to progress, who is going through to the Final Four?
Well, Mike, I'm going to start off in saying our dreams of an all BMW top Final Four is not going to happen. Daniel Devine takes it and makes his way into the top 4. You could see it there, Mike. His chase run was quite flawless in my opinion, definitely dealt with the situations perfectly, and the judges really respected that and gave it to him. So it'll be Daniel Devine making his way into the Final Four.
Yeah, you can see the delight there as they beat the bonnet, and always good spirits on track despite the weather as we go across the bracket now. And it is Peter Molloy, of course, the brother in the borrowed car from Red Don Burkett, up against the slightly now damaged car of Luke Talley. So it is BMW once again versus big turbo power here, and let's see which one comes out better off this time.
Absolutely, Michael. We're going to have another BMW win here. I'm not too sure. Luke Talley sends a big flick in, but catches a bit of understeer there, but makes it work for himself. He's had enough experience now in this way. He knows how to steer that car around here. He gets it through outer zone 1, lovely, and into outer zone 2. The wet is still there, but that BMW is right up on the door of that beautiful Luke Talley exemplar GT86, GR86. I'm not too sure what to say, Mike, but either way, they transition. They're coming into clipping zone 3. Luke Talley was close to the wall, but that BMW is still there. Peter Molloy is not holding back at all.
Yeah, look at this in the borrowed car from Molloy. Absolutely giving no inch there to the much higher horsepower GT86, and once again the conditions being the great leveler and the BMW right in the fight there.
Absolutely, Mike. We're going to swap things around now, and it's going to be Luke Talley in the chase and Peter Molloy in the lead. Luke Talley having a lot more power. Is he going to struggle? Mike, do you think he's going to struggle to try hold back that car up against that BMW?
I don't. Ordinarily he might have struggled a little bit in order to hold it back, but in these conditions, no, I don't think so. I think it's a level playing field pretty much. In fact, almost the NA cars having slight advantage in terms of throttle response, so I don't think he's going to struggle for pace and to hold it back. Kevin Quinn driving tomorrow, that is a good question. Another question from our live stream there from Nikita. Is Kevin Quinn driving tomorrow? We will have to get the entry list, but you can of course check out all the info on the IDS social pages, Irish Drift Series there on Facebook and Instagram, and they post up all that information, including all the technical stuff actually from today and what the judges exactly want to see. It's all posted up in really easy to read pictures, so it's really good to check it out. And of course you can check out all the media following the events and follow your favourite drivers and builds, whatever.
Absolutely, Mike. I'm not too sure what happened there. Peter Molloy taking a bit of a scenic route, even though I'm not too sure how scenic it is with all the rain.
Onto the spotter, I would say, once again.
I would say so.
Or it could be a cooling lap sometimes, but I don't think they need cooling laps in these conditions.
I wouldn't imagine. So either way, this time Peter Molloy is in the lead and Luke Talley is in the chase. Luke Talley waving the door of that car. Hopefully it's a case of he's just trying to air out the car, maybe, Mike, and as you're saying, the condensation on the window, try and clear it up a bit. Hopefully it's not a case of that door's causing issues. Yeah,
no, I think he's just cooling down the car inside, and like you said, leaving it open. But look at this now, a little bit of a gap opening up. Does Molloy come in too hot? He doesn't, not a chance. He's perfect. Lovely run in the conditions here from Molloy. He's right on that outside line despite the crazy flood that he has to go through here to get into the track. Now Talley needs to get onto the door of Molloy. He needs to be a little bit closer here. I think the BMW might actually end up taking this one. What do you think, Adam? I don't think Talley's in a great position here.
I don't think so either. Peter Molloy's lead run is absolutely stunning. He's putting that car everywhere where the judges want to see it. Unfortunately, on outer zone 4 there was a small bit shallow, but outer zone 1, outer zone 2, clipping zone 3, everything's perfect there. Just outer zone 4, small bit shallow, but still, Mike, what about the chase run? I wasn't really following the chase run there. I was really watching to see what way he was going to get that BMW around. Luke Talley was trying to keep up in the doors. I can watch the replay here. Luke Talley kind of held it with him, similar proximity throughout the whole thing, but it's just here as they transition and go off clipping zone 3. Luke Talley really, there's a bigger gap for Luke Talley there.
Yeah.
I'm not too sure what way it's going to go.
I mean, Luke does find him at the end there, but he cut the track at zone 3 there in order to find the proximity, and that's no good in the eyes of the judges. So I don't know. I mean, we'll have to watch now. Watch it. We swap him over. Let's see lead for lead, chase for chase. Now Tally's looking pretty good. He's on a bang on line there. It's a really good line from Tally. Now look at this from Molloy. He really starts to find the proximity and doesn't do so very much offline. So you gotta go and you gotta be saying that like Molloy is in a better position here. He's much closer. He's on a better line. Now Tally, to be fair, has a really great lead. He's making it very easy to be chaseable here. So you have to say Molloy definitely had the worst. He had the better chase and he had the worst lead. So it's going to come down to lead and chase here. Watch this now from Molloy. It's not a perfect lead run compared to Tally's, definitely. So watch this from Molloy. It's not bad up to this point. I mean, he uses the handbrake, not a huge amount of angle. You don't want it in these conditions. It's not a bad, it's definitely not a bad run from Molloy. Let's just see here around the last part of the course. He's pretty good up to that point, to be fair, but he does come a tiny bit shallow here. Watch, just on the inside. Yeah, I mean, he misses all of zone 4 pretty much.
Pretty much. He gets just in there at the very start and just in there at the very end, but he didn't get the whole main part of it. Either way, we can see our judges behind us here. They're watching the replays very carefully. And as you can see here on the live stream, both drivers are out of their car. They're chatting about it, Mike. They're saying, do you see that part there? Oh, yeah, you saw that part there. You were in this position many times, Mike.
I was.
What do you think they're talking about right now?
You're probably talking about the night tonight, what they're going to do.
True.
No, they're talking about exactly what happened on the run, and you know the universal signals there for I was sideways, you were sideways. So we can announce that we do have a winner, and it is indeed Luke. Tally gets the win, but we are going to go to Kieran Hynes, our head judge, just because this one is a little bit of a tight one. Kieran Hynes, looking from a layman's perspective, we might have called that possibly even the other way, lead for lead, chase for chase, but he called it, the judges have called it in Luke Tally's favour. Why was that exactly? Just making sure that Kieran Hynes is actually mic'd up here properly.
We're just passing the microphone now over to our lead judge, Kieran Hynes, just so he can give you an explanation on that. Mike is not Mike. Okay. Mike, do you want Mike?
Yes.
Yes, thanks, Adam.
When we compare lead to lead, Luke
that's my mic, Mike.
He fills the first zone cleanly, and again, the last zone where a lot of people follow you, Luke has, you know, as I said, is a flawless lead run, more or less. When you compare, Molloy has a little bit of a hesitation coming through the bottle, which everybody is doing at this stage, which was fair enough. In his chase position, he was cutting the track on the first corner, where Luke was actually in the zone, like I said. When Molloy leads, though, even though there's a little bit of separation in the middle of the run, we felt that Luke's lead gave Molloy a better opportunity to get on the door than when it was swapped around. And I think what really sealed it for us was in the last zone. Molloy doesn't get into the last clip, the last outer zone, while he actually cuts the track to the inside. So, you know, when we, as I said, we compare lead to lead, I think Luke had a stronger lead. When we compare to chase, Molloy has a slightly better chase, but we think that was a factor, that was Luke's lead.
That's brilliant. Thank you, Kieran, for summing that up for us and explaining the situation. Either way, our next two drivers are on the line and are ready to kick us off. It is Andrew Kenna and Jake McIlveen as they kick off. In the lead position is Jake McIlveen as he initiates here. And is he going to make it work, Mike? You can see the bonnet is going to lift, and he does. Jake makes it work. So that's CDM Sport E46. Andrew Kenna looks like he's struggling just there a small bit, Mike. I won't lie. He's holding back. He kind of looks like he didn't have as much angle on the transition there, and things are a small bit scrappy, as you would say, but I'm going to pass it over to you.
Yeah, definitely not the cleanest run, as none of these runs are because of the conditions here, and I think Kenna is struggling very much here in the chase position. That big turbo power maybe working against him there, unfortunately for him. And you know, you never know with the conditions whether it's going to go for you or against you, but definitely a messy one. And yeah, just back to that last one there, thank you to Kieran Hynes for explaining. And you know, I'd always take the devil's advocate. You'd go against him maybe and just say, we might have saw it the other way, Kieran, so why'd you call it that way? You'd get him to explain it a little bit more, a little bit more deeply. And definitely a good call from the judges there, and well explained by Kieran. So interesting to hear the insights of the judges on that one. But yeah, on to this one, of course, back into the present day instead of living in the past. Speaking of living in the past, thank you. Who said it? Might get the RX-7 out from O'Hanlon Motorsport. The RX-7 is fine out where she is, but she will be out at some stage. Hopefully.
She's washed today in the rain anyway, Mike.
She's fine out. There's no fear of her.
As you were saying, back to reality, and that last battle was, I think that'd be leaning a lot more towards Jake McIlveen, Mike.
Yeah, I have to agree. Lots of mistakes there, and it's just really who's making less mistakes in these conditions. That's no shade on the drivers, it's just that it's extremely difficult at the moment, and it is who can navigate the course. Now, the last battle was actually really good from both of the drivers, to be fair, but you know, it's difficult out there, and I think we're seeing the results of that. But look at this from McIlveen. Oh, it's coming in too hot. I think he just came in with a little bit too much there. He didn't have to go so aggressive. Maybe he just caught a little bit of grip on initiation and was forced to do it. I'm not sure, but Jake McIlveen, not a massive mistake, but not a small one either. So we'll have to see, does that turn around the mistakes from the first run? Let's see. Now he's going to have to find the door. If he can really claw it back here, he's going to still put this battle to bed, I think. Oh, McIlveen almost stopped, but that's because Kenna almost stopped and they crossed the line. And what's happening at him?
I'm not too sure, Mike. I'm not too sure. We can really see for the lead driver specifically that your initiation and zone 1 is really predicting the rest of your run. Andrew Kenna came in there and he really tried dealing with that flood of water there on track, but unfortunately just didn't consider the fact of where he was putting the car, and it did not get deep enough into zone 1.
Yeah, and I can announce going through to the final 4 to face off against Luke Talley. It is indeed Jake McIlveen goes through to the final 4, booking himself a place in tomorrow's action as well. So your final 4 are, it is Dylan Wilson in the BMW, Danny Devine in the 180, Luke Talley in the GTR 86, and Jake McIlveen in the BMW.
Absolutely, Michael. We're going to go into our first battle of the final 4. It is Dylan Wilson versus Daniel Devine.
And remember, guys, you will see these lads back for action tomorrow in with the Pro class. They'll be looking for semi-slick tyres tonight, definitely for these conditions. Danny Devine leads us in through the water. Let's see if Wilson can keep with him. It's a double yellow car battle at least anyway. Oh, and a nice line there from Devine, but Wilson now finds the door of the little Nissan. Look at these cars, actually, the E92 being a...
It's like two bees fighting. Like.
It is like two bees fighting. It's like two wasps or two honeybees fighting over the last bit of pollen. And I have to say, Wilson is looking very good here. Almost makes contact with the 180, guys, but just about stays out of it.
What an unbelievable
run,
the
Mike. Crowd liking that one, guys. Thank you for your appreciation and for sticking with us here through these terrible conditions and staying out here supporting these drivers. But it's a nice initiation there from Devine. Very good lead, I must say. Right on line from Devine, leaving the door open there for Wilson. Wilson is right there with him though. Look at the replay here. He's right on the front wheel of Devine as they come around.
Wilson is not holding back through any of that, Mike.
No, watch the dive he makes here now. It's a huge dive. He finds a lot of grip here on the transition now. Just watch his transitions early. Gets in the pocket there, just behind the back bumper of Devine. Now look, okay, he made a bit of a dive, lost it a bit again, but overall, I mean, I like the aggression in that one there. Denny Devine now has to do something serious here. Denny Devine has to do a Denny Devine on this one.
He has to do a Devine run.
He has to do a Devine chase, but he has to do a Denny Devine. We saw him driving like an absolute crazy person here at IDC, as it was known last year, 2024, and at IDS now 25. He has to do the same here. He has to do something better than Wilson. He has to have the proximity that Wilson had, but a little bit more and maybe just that bit tidier.
Absolutely, Mike. Daniel Devine did put down a lovely lead run there, especially considering the conditions here in Bishopscourt. But Dylan Wilson put down an outstanding chase throughout that battle, so he did. So there's going to be a lot of pressure on Danny Devine now to push right up against the door of Wilson. As you can see, Wilson is initiating here, huge initiation from through that big puddle, and he gets it not as deep, but lovely line through outer zone 1. Danny Devine trying to keep it there with him. Is he going to get up close and keep as much proximity as Wilson had on him? And he is, Mike, just maybe a small bit off, but they're really with each other around this.
Yeah, it's a dead heat so far. I'm not going to call this one. Can the 180 spring forward like the E92 did? It's very level so far. Let's see if Devine can now make the dive. Oh, he's gone very weird on the transition.
Contact, Mike,
he's just gone in the wrong position on the transition. I think Denny Devine just kept the angle in a little bit too long there and caught He made the do or die move, and it might be die here for Devine. He's still in a good position in the championship because he stayed in until the top 4 and will of course have that 3rd, 4th place playoff, but I don't know, is that a mistake? We'll have to see now, just in case the BMW braked unexpectedly or something, but I didn't see it first time around, to be honest, guys.
I'm not too sure either, Mike. I am not too sure, but we're watching here on the replay, and you can see as Wilson is in the lead and makes transition, Daniel Devine just kind of really digs up. But Wilson was shadow coming into our zone 4 there, Mike.
He was, but I think he's still. And guys, can we hear a round of applause as they get out of the cars? Let's hear it for Dylan Wilson and Denny Devine, putting on a show here in these crazy conditions. And I think Devine knew there he had no choice. He just had to make the big dive. He had to let the judges with that last memory of the crazy dive in order to take the battle, and he went for that. He went for the transition from the outside into the pocket in order to spring forward and almost get the advantage of the line on the inside springing forward. I know exactly what he was doing. It just didn't work. He just mistimed it by a half a second.
Absolutely, Mike. And the winner of that is in, and it's going to Dylan Wilson. Dylan Wilson will be making his way into the final, if I'm correct. But that's not it for Danny Devine. Danny Devine will have an opportunity to play off for 3rd position, still getting a chance to go on the podium today.
He will indeed. He will indeed. So that is Dylan Wilson having the dream weekend in the E92 BMW. He will be delighted with his day's work here, and we will have to see what happens in the other semi-final across the bracket. Luke Talley also having a dream weekend. He will be delighted. Jake McIlveen also delighted to be in this position in the semi-final. So we get our 2 gladiators to the line. I say that because you know what? Anybody out in these conditions are gladiators.
Before our 2 gladiators make their way to the line, Mike, I think Danny Devine might be having car issues from what I can see here at just over here to the left of the tower. It looks like, from what I can hear behind us, they're going to push the car in. Unfortunately, I really hope for Danny's sake
it might
that
just
he's
be
not having more car issues.
Well, it could be just an intercooler pipe that did take a little bit of a hit at the front, and the front tube of that car might have just moved around and maybe moved an intercooler pipe off or something, or hopefully it's that's all it is. But
hopefully so, Mike, hopefully so. It would be great to see him back out and have another opportunity of getting on the podium.
Another crack at the whip.
Exactly, he'll be 3rd this time. Hopefully next time now he'll be in the top position.
Exactly. So we will get Denny Devine recovered, but in the meantime we have a semi-final here at IDS Pro2 to get through. And once again, guys, IDS this season is brought to you by Red Bull and Lucky Day Competitions. Red Bull doing some fantastic work, and we'll be announcing more of this tomorrow. But if you were on any kind of social media recently and follow any kind of car stuff, you will have seen the Red Bull Drift Pursuit event there at the start of July, announced for none other than Spike Island in Cork. It's done just near Cove there in Cork Harbour. It's a former jail and a former active jail, and you have to get a ferry onto the island in order to get to the event. So it's going to be a magic event. It's a nighttime event on top of it. So Red Bull always pushing the boundaries in terms of sport and in terms of athletes that they support and things. Such a fantastic company, and we are delighted to have them on board this year. Of course, Lucky Day Competitions, long-term sponsor of the series now, and they are doing the craziest giveaways ever. They've gone nuts at them. They're giving away villas in. They're giving away villas in Spain at this stage. Crazy stuff.
Crazy stuff. They give away houses, but they also give away hair products and stuff.
Exactly.
Everything.
You can go big or you can go mall.
Exactly. Before we come into our second battle of our 2 semi-finals here at IDS, I'm going to give another shout out to all our other sponsors: Strong Wheels, ECU Master, Turn Tire Distribution, GMD Tire and Service Centre, Shift AM, our official media partner for 2025, CDM Sport, Nazuba Motorsports, Group D, Yugan Factory, TS Drift Days, and Drift Magazine. Once again, we would not be able to do all this without all our support from them, along with the support from all of you watching at home and from everyone here on track today.
Yeah, and if you're in Northern Ireland or even anywhere, to be honest, get along here tomorrow for action, because it's going to be absolutely crazy tomorrow. It's mixed conditions. Bring the brolly, bring the suntan lotion as well. It's going to be crazy. We're into the second semi-final here. We have Jake McIlveen leading in, Luke Talley here, both cars once again putting up with the and dealing with the crazy conditions. The BMW of McIlveen looking very good in the lead position. A little bit of a waver earlier in the lap, but nothing too major. Luke Talley struggling a little bit to find the grip in this up and coming GT86 chassis. We see the Shanahans and a lot of other drivers putting them to great use across the international competitions, and we get across the line. Nice clean run that time from both drivers.
Absolutely, Mike, and I'm looking forward to seeing the next run of this battle.
Spanners Watson liking the transition there from Denny Devine on the last one, and but yeah, it's great to see the comments as well, guys. It is great to get that interaction through the live stream. But you know what, on this run, I think it has to be a slight advantage to McIlveen, despite a little bit of a waiver there. But we'll see. It's still all to play for, and it is in the hands of the judges, not the hands of the gods, in the hands of the judges.
Absolutely, Mike. I could only imagine what it'd feel like to be in one of them cars right now, especially with these unpredictable conditions we're dealing with here. It's not just skill, it's not just... Do you know what, Mike? It is. It's just hope at this point, I'd imagine, when you're inside that car, especially with this kind of conditions.
Well,
the power you'd have in them.
There's a lot of driving in them in these conditions. You're not hanging around inside in the car, you're busy. You're very busy in the car. And, you know, we see Luke Talley coming up through the series. He's a name that you're starting to see more and more getting into those grade 8s, top 4s. He's improving every round. Super nice guy as well. And yeah, it's nice to see him improving. Jake McIlveen always has a good one in him, to be honest. He has always got that potential. And it's good to see Talley. Look at Talley out of the blocks here so fast in the GT86. McIlveen is with him, but he's not right with him there. Maybe leaving a little bit of a gap, a safety gap, so to speak. No, it's a nice line from Talley in the lead position here as McIlveen now tries to find the door to GT86. It's a beautiful line from Talley, to be fair. He's making it really chaseable. McIlveen now is just on that inside line where the cars can't seem to get traction out of on the inside in the rain. Now makes the dive, doesn't quite get the proximity here to Talley. Oh, and this is going to be a very close one. Now makes the dive.
Absolutely, Mike. An outstanding lead run there from Luke Talley, in my opinion. It definitely looked like one there. I could just imagine him at the start line. He was like, do you know what? I don't care what happens now. I am settling this. I still have a chance to be on the podium after this. May as well have fun here. May as well maybe get to the top spot. Maybe make his way into the battles for first or second place.
Yeah, and that was a very close battle. That was a very close battle overall, but we can announce going into the final, it is none other than Luke Talley going to the final, guys. He'll be delighted with that one. So Jake McIlveen will have to face off against a hard-charging Denny Devine in the 3rd, 4th place playoff here. So Luke Talley makes his way into the final against the one and only Dylan Wilson, and it is going to be a crazy final. But before we get there, we'll get Jake McIlveen back out on track, we'll get Denny Devine back out on track, and we still have one podium place to decide here, Adam, and it's going to be a hard charging battle once again.
Absolutely, Mike. I'm not too sure what the story is with Daniel Devine at the moment. We did see him just going, being towed back into, or rescued back into the pits there a minute ago. I'm sure we'll get an update there now in a moment as to what the situation is, so he can come back up for his 3rd place battle.
So I'm just hearing here from Sean Healy, our track controller, that Denny Devine has actually called a 5-minute rule to get his car fixed. So the drivers, of course, have one 5-minute rule throughout the top 32, and should they have already called one, they get granted another 5-minute rule in the top 4, the thinking being that the cars are under pressure, etc. So they have a second 5-minute rule in the top 4. So Denny Devine using his 5-minute rule here for the top 4, and is indeed in slight mechanical issues. So he has 5 minutes now in order, once the hands are put on his car, he has 5 minutes to get his car ready and back out of his pit box, or he is out of competition. But hopefully he gets it back out, because you know what, we all like seeing Denny Devine on the track. He's one of the future stars of IDC. His dad Charlie and family there are super great people, and you want to see him getting on, and you want to see the top 4 place being played off and not just being granted by a Byrne, you know.
Absolutely, Mike, absolutely. We can see both drivers there of Jake McIlveen and Dylan Wilson are too eager to get out on track. They just want to go out and have a bit of fun when they're waiting for Danny by the looks of things, because they're both lined up there, even though that's not the battle we're meant to be seeing next. Up next should be Danny and Jake, but I'm not too sure if we're going to move on to the final. Either way, none of the results of this will be announced until we go down to that podium and can say who wins.
Yeah, exactly. We're not going to announce the results until we get to the podium, guys, and a wet podium it's going to be. I think it'll be a pretty brief one this evening, that's for sure. Of course, we have 3 podiums as well. We have the junior, the rookie, and the Pro 2 outright. So 3 podium ceremonies to go through really quick, and it is going to be It's always a great time, especially for the rookie and the junior drivers. But the Pro 2 guys who battle to get there have battled very, very hard. And remember, guys, we started out with 62 entries. I think about 54, 56 cars went through qualifying.
So similar to that, yes.
So basically, the winner of today will be the top out of not 32 drivers. It'll be out of about 54 or 5 drivers.
Absolutely, Mike. And another thing not to forget as well, our top 4 drivers, if not, this is top 4, isn't it? They'll be making their way to also compete tomorrow in the Pro 1 side of this championship.
Exactly, they will make their way to Pro competition outright tomorrow, where semi-slick tyres are allowed, and therefore the speeds are way up on today. The grip is way up, and it is looking sunny for tomorrow with some showers. So once again, if you're making your way here to catch us at IDS Pro competition tomorrow here in Bishopscourt at BDD, Northern Ireland's home of drifting, be sure to bring a brolly, bring the sunscreen as well, and I think you might need both of them in the one day. And it's going to be crazy, because it's one thing with the wet weather and stuff, but when you go from wet to dry back again, it's always so entertaining and so crazy. And you once again, you get both. You get the speed, you get the tyre smoke, but you get the thrills and spills of the changing conditions as well. So it's going to be a crazy one.
Absolutely, Mike. We saw that at round 1 back in Japfest in Mondello Park, and things were so unpredictable. We didn't know what way it was going to go, especially on the Pro 1 side of things for yourself and Eddie. I could only imagine what it was like commentating that, because the conditions were so up and down. Started off as an absolute scorcher. I remember there being a redhead myself, I was getting burnt, and then by the evening I was covered up and I was soaked to the bone because the rain was coming down from the heavens.
So just getting back to some questions here from Daniel Gardiner. I think the series actually got back to him in the text, but yeah, you can join late in the season and do the last 3 rounds of Pro 2 rookie. I would almost advise trying to do a full season from the get-go if you're doing rookie, because should you qualify for a battle in your first season of Pro 2 rookie, you're not a rookie anymore, and then you kind of lose the advantage of being a rookie, because you only do the 3 rounds, whereas if you come in and you have a good rookie season and you get a couple of high qualification spots, there's a good chance that you take a championship podium at the end of the year, and you could put the 5 rounds to your advantage, if you get me. But yeah, if you just want to join mid-season, get your car up to spec, get it through logging, and once you're good to go with logging, once you have all the safety devices, i.e. welding roll cage that is approved, and all the fire safety stuff, of course, all your personal safety gear, you're pretty good to go.
Absolutely. And the man that asked you that question, Daniel Gardiner, if I pronounce that correct, I definitely butchered
Gardiner.
it. Either way, his reply to that was, go at it for flip's sake. Might put fire, no, sorry, I'm reading the wrong one. Yeah, I was right, never mind. Might have to say no, my poor bank account.
Oh yeah, that is a stumbling block for all of us in drifting, unfortunately, until you get to the point of getting paid to do it, which is extremely difficult road. Not impossible, but I would say there's 4 or 5 drivers in Ireland who have gotten paid properly to do it. I mean, paid to compete, of course. It is possible to teach drifting. Did so myself for many, many years, longer than I care to remember. Nathan Corcoran, actually, the driver out earlier, actually works in the Drift Games experience in Mondello Park. So if you go to Mondello, do the Drift Games experience, Nathan should be one of your instructors on the day usually. And you get paid to do that. And also you can sometimes get paid to do passenger rides, demonstration runs, that kind of thing. And you're basically living the dream at that stage, especially if you're in another person's car. That's the dream.
Absolutely, Mike. Talking about living the dream in the last 3 rounds, we're going to talk about where they are. So our next round will be in Watergrass Hill down in Cork on June 13th, 14th and 15th in Cart World. Followed by, we're back up here again, the other side of the country, up here in Bishopscourt, Diff and Drift, Northern Ireland's home of drifting, for round 4 on August 1st, 2nd and 3rd. And then the Pro 2 final will be back down in Watergrass Hill in Cork on August 23rd and 24th. Definitely one you don't want to miss. That'll be all the lads that are out today. And then we have the Pro final, which will be taking place in Kerry Bisu, as we call it. That is 360 Motorsport Park down in just outside Tralee, Mike. It's only 15 minutes away from my home.
Yeah,
probably my favourite track to go to.
Between Tralee and Listowel, exactly, yeah. So it's a crazy track up in the mountains of Kerry. It's an oval with a teardrop section kind of put into the middle of it as well, and it's always a great time there. There's a really big elevation change there as well, so it's always got loads of thrills and spills down in Kerry. And I have to say as well, once again, into the bikes myself, and luckily, if you are into both, there is the classic motorcycle shows on for our weekend in Bishopscourt here at the start of August. The classic motorcycle show, which has loads of stuff going on at it, is actually on the racetrack just around the corner here in Bishopscourt. So if you wanted to make a weekend of it, I'm going to do it, definitely. You can actually head up the Friday, catch the motorcycle show, catch some of the racing. There's live bands and things, and then you could get to the, or do the Saturday at the show come Sunday for the drifting.
Absolutely, Mike. I'd say that'd be absolutely mighty cracking. I'll definitely have to make the trip myself. This is my first time up here in Bishopscourt Diff and Drift, and I can't get over the size of the place and the amount of facilities that are here.
Well, they did land World War II bombers here, so it's big.
But don't talk about that. Now you got drifting here. That's the main thing.
Now you got drifting here, exactly.
The more fun side of things.
Exactly.
Probably the more expensive side of things too. I'd say.
Yeah, definitely dearer than a World War II bomber. Definitely much more expensive. But back to that comment there as well. Your poor bank account. It is perfectly doable. It's not unobtainable, and sponsors do come on. Don't get me wrong, it is expensive, especially if it's all self-funded, but if you keep it real and do like the Molloys were doing there earlier, or who was it, Michael Henderson there in the Beamer, it's actually extremely cheap because you don't go through many tyres, you just need the van and trailer. You need a way of getting to the event, keep the car running on normal petrol rather than race fuel for a while, and keep it real, and it's extremely cheap sport. You can have a lot of fun, you can qualify, you might not win battles in you might not win an event in a dry Montello with an underpowered car, but as we saw here, if the day goes your way, you can certainly make your way a long way into the bracket and have a great time, and do so extremely cheaply.
Absolutely, Mike. It's definitely a skill-based sport, because put it this way, if you put me in a very high horsepower Mustang RTR, if me and James Dean swapped cars, he'd probably still beat me.
Well, it depends on the conditions as well and stuff, but again, the likes of Mondello and the dry the car is a good part of the equation, to be honest. Let's not lie about it. But up here in a tighter track, or a track such as Watergrass Hill in Cork, or Kerry even, 360 Motorsports Park, especially in the rain, but not only in the rain, but especially in the rain, it does, as we are all seeing here, it does level it out, and you don't need to have the big expensive build. Should conditions and the track go your way on the day, you actually have a really good chance. So it is definitely a skill-based sport, and compared to the likes of single-seater racing, or possibly to a point rallying as well, rallying the driver is a big part of the equation as well, to be fair, but the likes of sequential gearboxes are worth a couple of seconds each stage, and all that kind of stuff that costs money. But the driver is a huge part of the drifting, of the car and driver combo. It's a bigger percentage of the overall package, is what I'm trying to say. So, yeah, if you're handy, good pilot, you can definitely make it a long way into the sport without spending a lot of money.
Absolutely, Mike. We're about to kick off and go straight into our third place playoff versus Danny Devine and Jack McIlveen here in Bishopscourt Diff and Drift, in Northern Ireland's home of drifting, for the Irish Drift Series 2025, proudly brought to you by Lucky Day Competitions and Red Bull, our two title sponsors. Make sure to check them out. We're about to kick things off here. I'm not too sure exactly what's happening on the line. Oh, there, here we go. Danny Devine takes the lead first time round. Jake will be in the chase position. Daniel Devine coming in. Bit of a slow initiation there, Mike. He's playing it safe, but he's getting around. He's fulfilled zone 1.
Yeah, tentative initiation there from Devine. The right thing to do, definitely. It's for a place on the podium here. All these podiums are very, very hard earned, and all these trophies will take pride of place on the mantelpiece. So there's big pride at stake here as well, of course, as championship points for Jake McIlveen or Danny Devine. Danny Devine is chasing the championship. He's going to want to put this one to bed in order to get those last few championship points as they cross the line. And you know what? McIlveen there went a tiny bit tight on the inside, I think. Nice lead run from Devine. Good chase from McIlveen in the conditions, but I think just a mistake there at the end might hand a small advantage to Devine, considering that his lead was actually very good. But look at this, there's really good proximity there at the start of zone 2 from McIlveen, so I don't think it's going to be a big advantage to the Kildare men.
Absolutely, Mike. And one thing I didn't realise there, and it's just said in the comments there by Fogg O'Reilly, that's 2 CDM Sport drivers in this third place playoff.
Yeah, absolutely. Their team is growing, that is for sure. And we saw Connor Duggan eliminated from competition earlier there, unfortunately. But Jake McIlveen keeping the flag flying there for CDM Sport, that's for sure. And we swapped them over now, guys. So the Danny Devine as well, of course, and the lower qualifier now leads. And once again, the advantage being Danny Devine knows that he probably has to push a little bit here. He knows that no big mistakes from McIlveen. Okay, he probably had tiny advantage because of that slight mistake at the end. but it's not a massive difference here. So the advantage being the higher qualifier here is he knows that he has to push it, and the win now is in Devine's hands here. The win is really, really in Devine's hands. He has to push, and if he does so, he knows he can take it here.
Absolutely, Mike, but I'm not too sure. As you can see, the rain starting to really come down heavy here. Even just since that last run, the last like 30 seconds to a minute, things are coming down a lot heavier. It's coming down now, Mike, and especially around that initiation zone, it's going to be soaking. It's going to puddle up. It has kind of cleared out a small bit from all the runs we've had recently, kind of throwing it out, but it is here as you transition, go up for clip 3 as well. You can see it really starting to flood there, so that can really drag the car into the tyre bale. I'm not too sure. These both drivers have been driving pretty much for the last couple of hours in these horrendous conditions. But either way, we're going straight back into it. It's our third place playoff. Jake McIlveen in the lead position, followed by Danny Devine.
So McIlveen leads us in through the huge puddle of water. Look at this, clearing the water there, the CDM Sport D46. Absolutely kicking up a puddle. Devine makes a very aggressive transition, but has to adjust a lot. Not the cleanest transition in the world, but very aggressive, definitely. Now he's back in the pocket here. He's back where he wants to be. He's right in there with the BMW. Now both cars rotate once again into zone 3. And let's see if Devine can now put foot to floor and make the Sylvia, make the 180SX, bounce through the transition onto the door. He does find the door, McIlveen, and both drivers cross the line.
Well, Mike, I am not too sure. You can hear the crowd applauding him here. That was an absolutely outstanding one. You can see the amount of water they came through there in the initiation as Jake was in the lead. As you can see here on the replay up around zone 2, Danny does kind of straighten up. He has the proximity, but not the angle. It kind of looked like they were going to make a small bit of contact there as well, Mike. Am I right?
Possibly, yeah. We might have to see that replay once again. And guys, the conditions here, you can see a lot of it on the live stream, that's for sure. But thank you guys, all the fans who have stayed here cheering on these drivers. Thank you so much, because these are absolutely crazy conditions we're bearing here right now at IDS round 2. So we are going to just announce if we have a decision or not. We're not going to tell you who is the winner, because we are going to announce that on the podium, but we will let you know if we have a decision or not, or else if it is a one more time, which it could be.
Quite possibly, Mike. It won't be surprising one bit. Two very talented drivers, both running on the same team with CDM Sport, one of our sponsors for this year, and it's definitely something both of us should be proud of, battling against conditions they've had today and trying to get them cars around here. And you can see the results of it now. We're about to find out from our judges. If there is a result, we won't let you know, but we will tell you once we get down to the podium.
For show, as they say, for show. So, just waiting for the judges to make up their minds here now, and assuming they have their mind made up, we are ready for a final here at IDS round 2 here in Bishopscourt Pro 2. And as I look at my weather app on the phone, which has gotten me drowned on the motorbikes many times. Okay, so we are ready to rock. We do have a decision, I believe, on the last one, do we? We do, and we're ready for a final. So we do have a decision, and it is time for the final. It's Luke Talley leading in Dylan Wilson here, the GTR 86, with a big gap opened up here. Not sure what happened to Wilson there. He's gone very straight here. Is there a problem for Wilson here in the final?
Mike, I am not too sure, but Luke Talley's still making his way around. Dylan Wilson basically has shut it down now. This is the final, Mike. That's not what you want to happen. You're going to have to hope there's going to be a 10-0 in the opposite way around. Luke Talley just needs to get it across the line here safely without shutting down, without getting himself to 0 or setting the car off. Wilson is still making his way around slowly and surely. Regardless, Mike, whatever happens, these guys are playing in the top 2.
They are indeed.
First or second is definitely something to be proud of.
So Wilson went to initiate there, and I think he almost had a front lock up through the water by the looks of it. I'm not sure, but that's almost what it looked like. And after that, he just shut it down. But maybe he never got it initiated. Maybe that car just is we might have a 5-minute rule here, and Dylan Wilson wants to keep himself in the game in the hope that Luke Talley's going to get a 0 on the second one. But it's all to lose here now for Luke Talley, because Wilson has a mechanical issue, and once again this water is causing absolute havoc with the cars. Oh, so we're just hearing that, is it a clutch issue? So we're just hearing here, guys, official confirmation, and Dylan Wilson's clutch has left the chat. Dylan Wilson's clutch is gone, which pretty much hands us a result, guys, but we will give you the official result on the podium. We do have a result for the 3rd, 4th place playoff as well. So that is all she wrote until the podium in a couple of minutes time for IDS round 2 here in Bishopscourt, and it's been a crazy one conditions wise, Adam.
Absolutely, Mike. Once again, thank you again to all our sponsors, everyone that's at home tuning in and watching this mayhem unfold. And as well, a huge shout out to everybody that's still here in attendance despite the conditions, getting absolutely soaked, but they're still here because they have passion about the sport. They still love the sport and they want to see some unbelievable talent go around this track, and that's what they've done. Either way, Mike, it's been a pleasure being here beside you, and we're about to head down to the podium and announce our winner and third place.
Likewise, Adam. Thank you very much, guys. Yeah, we'll be back. Give us a couple of minutes. Just going to get the official results down in pen and paper, and we will be back with podium celebrations in a couple of minutes' time. Thank you.
Microphone isn't working.
I'm going down, yeah.
Are you taking your microphone down?
Yeah. I don't think that's a good idea.
We're not too happy with that now, are you?
No, will it reach?
Oh, you should be. It's a radio mic side.
Get a longer lead for the radio mic.
Yeah.
Fuck me anyway, my stupid fucking jacket. That's
Definitely the fucking.
Oh, 1-2. One, two, one, 1-2.
I reckon we just try shoot what we need to shoot tomorrow morning. Just have to come down to this.
One, two, 1-2. Right, guys. So thanks very much for sticking with the conditions. It's been a fairly interesting one, to say the least, and well done to everybody, all the drivers and all the crews, especially for keeping the cars going through these absolutely nuts conditions here in Bishopscourt this evening. And hopefully tomorrow is a little bit better. And of course, we do have the top 4 drivers coming up tomorrow. So the top 4 from Pro 2 will progress to tomorrow. So we won't delay here. Because I think everybody wants to out. So we're going to start with the juniors. I'm just going to walk over here, be a bit closer to the pickup. Going to start with the junior drivers, lads, on the podium here at IDS Round 2 2025. Third in the junior class. Let's hear it, guys, for Jake Davey. Luke Tally there, look, fiddling the bottle. Luke Tally's ready for action. Right, guys, so second position in the junior class. Let's hear it for Jake McIlveen. So guys, that must mean that your winner today of the junior class with an absolutely cracking qualifying lap. Let's hear it for Alex Butler! I'm going into my car and try out on work. Oh, imagine. No. Guys, once again, let's hear it for your junior podium, Davey, McIlveen and Alex Butler. Right, guys, moving it on to our rookie class. Give her the money back, said. Not legal tender. Right, so guys, our rookie class here at IDS Round 2 2025 in third position. Let's hear it for Ollie Cassidy. If I have a mic. In second position in the Pro 2 rookie class, guys, give it up for Noel Houston. Which only leaves one driver, lads, also with a cracking qualifying campaign. Your winner of Pro 2 Rookie at IDS Round 2 2025. Give it up for the one and only Bartek Bleski! Guys, let's hear it once more for the rookie class. Ollie Cassidy, Niall Houston and Bartek Bleski. Well done, lads. Great driving. Which brings us on, guys, to the main part of the podium celebration till we get to tomorrow. And bear in mind, these four drivers will be in competition tomorrow as well. So if you have any semi-slick tyres, now is the time to sell. So in fourth position, after battling very, very hard all day, it has to be said, a couple of mechanicals on the way as well, got back out. Still on a championship charge, guys, in fourth position in Pro 2. Let's hear it for Denny Devine. Which must mean third position. It's his second time on the podium here, guys. Let's hear it for the one and only Jake McIlveen. Now, unfortunately, guys, we were robbed of the final that we were all looking forward to because these two lads battled through the conditions. They were consistent the whole way through when everybody else was falling around the track and skidding around the track, much more than usual around them. The two lads dealt fantastically with what was a crazy evening of rain. So in second position, unfortunately, with a clutch expiration, but battling all the way through in the beautiful E92. Guys, let's hear a massive round of applause for Dylan Wilson! Which must mean, guys, and I want to hear a big, big, big round of applause for this man. He'll collect you. He'll collect your car from the airport. He might wash it for you. He might even put on your suntan lotion on holiday for you. But all I know is he's the winner today, and his name is Luke Kelly! Just remember, boys, these race suits are needed again in the morning at 9 o'clock. Yes! So, guys, that's it for Pro 2 on the Saturday. We'll see you all back here tomorrow. Top 4 from today. We'll be back tomorrow with stinky race suits. Guys, thanks for bearing the conditions again. See you tomorrow.